it's done. This podcast is brought to you by High Dive. Ever wanting to watch an older anime series but don't know where to find it streaming online? High Dive is your exclusive source for many older anime titles, such as Legend of the Galactic Heroes, The Big O, Azumanga Daioh, Mahoramatic, Pat Labor, Princess Tutu, Sakura Wars, Ara Battler Dunbine, Armored Trooper Vodomes, and a ton more. So look no further, head over to highdive.com and lose yourself in the classics. And while you're there, be sure to use the promo code AAAPodcast at highdive.com, and you're going to get 50% off your first month of service. This podcast is also brought to you by JList.com. JList is still having their EMS shipping sale all the way from Japan. You're going to get 50% off your shipping costs when you make a purchase of $50 or more at JList. That means cheap shipping on your favorite anime figures, Japanese snacks, anime PC games, magazines, and adult products as well, all shipping from Japan. So head over to JList.com to get 50% off your shipping on orders of $50 or more. And now, time to start the podcast.
You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at AAAPodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 451st episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast.
Woo!
All right.
Baby!
Well, just blew out your ears on that one.
No, I didn't.
My name is Kazuo, and I am joined here by the very boisterous Mitsuki.
He's amped up, baby. I'm here. I'm ready to roll. Ready to talk about some anime, some nerd shit.
I feel like I haven't had enough of my energy drink to get on your level, but I'll do my best.
Drink it.
Same.
And I will cheers you with my 5-hour energy.
Oh, fantastic.
There
All right,
go.
while we're
Cheers.
doing that,
Cheersing.
Mandy, what's going on?
Hello, guys. Sorry, I was taking a drink of my coffee. But I'm doing good. I lost my cat. I'm not literally. I mean, she just ran away from me. She went to the other side of the room. She was on my lap, so I lost my lap warmer.
Ravage,
so
I love
my
you.
lap is cold, but I'm doing good. How's everyone else?
Fantastic. Well, we've got an exciting episode for you all today.
We do. We're really jam-packed. Again, we're always packed.
As per usual. Of course, you can always find us on our website, AAAPodcast.com. Go to AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account and sign up for all of the bonus content that we provide. We just recorded a Hobby Addicts episode. We talked about some Netflix shows. We also talked about some books that we have read or would like to read.
I just want to say, Kazuo, how proud I am of you.
Okay.
That you're learning. You're finally learning how to read.
Yeah, you know, I figured it's probably something. I'm in my 30s now. I should probably learn how to read. And so that's what I'm going to be doing for the remainder of the year. I'm going to figure out how to read by January.
Does this mean you're going to join Manga Club?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
Well, the children are proud of you.
Thank you for your honesty.
I might. Depends on what manga we have coming up on that. But yeah,
well, right now we're reading. What are we reading? Sayuki. And that will be this Wednesday.
Okay,
Next
Sayuki.
one is Opus, which is by Why is my brain is dead today? I am so sorry.
No can brain today.
No can brain.
I know.
Brain gone out window.
I am like a mess today. I'm so tired. But I'm trying my best.
All right. Well, yeah, maybe I'll check some of those out. I'm going to try to read a book a month.
Satoshi Kon, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So sorry.
Oh, of course. I knew that. Why didn't I say anything?
I was off in dreamland.
Yeah. So yeah, if if you want to check out the Hobby Addicts, you can see what books they recommended to me to read.
Join.
We're also going to be doing a hentai episode. We're going to record that later on after this episode, so check that out as well on the website. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/AAAPodcast, and on Discord. Join the Discord server where we have those manga club meetings.
We do.
And by we, I mean Mandy.
every other Wednesday, unless something gets canceled.
Nice. So you can find a link to the Discord on the website, AAAPodcast.com. It's along the very top, so head over there, check it out, and join the army of anime addicts.
We also have an enhanced mailbag button.
We do. It's enhanced for your pleasure.
So you click the mailbag button.
Oh.
And you got enhanced for your pleasure.
Yes.
That button is enhanced for your pleasure. You can, is it ribbed? Is that what you said? Oh, dear gods. Well, on that note, you can now submit hentai episode topic requests.
It's true.
You can submit hentai episode mailbags. You can submit regular mailbags. You can submit topic requests for the main podcast. You can submit Shark Tank submissions for our Shark Tank segments. And also you can submit Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner submissions. So all these different things we do for the podcast, that is now the place where you put your own little hat into the ring so you can go be a part of the show.
Yeah.
And we'll love you, and we'll love you for it. And I'll snuggle you.
So before we get into today's episode, we have a poll result from the 2018,
I'm so excited.
Fall of Anime 2018 listener choice results.
I've been waiting for this.
Now, we have the top 3 shows as voted on by you, the listener, in third place with 11.72% of the vote.
Oh!
SSSS Gridman. I don't know what the hell that is.
It's Gridman.
Yeah, Gridman.
11.7%. Gridman.
Gridman.
In second place
Oh my god, I can't take it.
with 16.55% of the vote.
Oh my god.
Zombieland Saga.
Wow.
Yeah.
16.5.
I love that show. I'm so sad, but it's okay.
All right.
I expected
good show,
Zombieland Saga. Not only did I expect it to win the poll,
Oh, wow.
but I expected it to. I expected it to win.
I expected it to do well, but the one I expected to win is the one that has won.
Yeah, but the one that you expected to win won by a landslide.
By a landslide.
And
with,
I'm so surprised by this.
With 46.9% of the vote,
Dear God.
Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yep.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. Whoop, that it is.
Well, there it is.
So that will be our fall 2018 listener choice anime.
Interesting.
I'm not surprised.
Surprising number of people are watching that show, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and it was a good show. Yeah, you know, I had my issues with it.
Well, there it is.
But even that, it was still an interesting show. I enjoyed the concept.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been enjoying it so far. I'm a little bit behind. I need to catch up, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't know. I like it so far.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So on today's episode, we are going to be doing a review, finally, of the 3rd season of My Hero Academia.
Finally.
I feel like this one we've been kind of putting off for a little while, but we're finally getting around to it.
Yep.
And yeah, so we'll get into that. I'll talk a bit about my thoughts on, well, the show, but also on us passing the show, and by us I mean me, because I guess I'm the one that passed it.
I think that this is the last show from the summer.
I think so.
Is it?
I gotta go back and look at our document here.
The last one that we have to review.
Yeah, I think it's the last of that season. I'm gonna check right now just to be sure.
So in our main topic today, we'll also
Indeed, I have confirmed.
Oh, confirmed. That was quick. The main topic today, outside of the review, will be
No, spring.
spring.
Ah,
You're right. The main topic will be locked in their mediums.
Yes.
Which I believe we're going to be discussing anime that we feel only work as anime, and other shows or games or books or what have you that could or could not work as an anime. So
Suggested by Icyrose.
Suggested by Icyrose.
That's right.
Yeah, it was previously a mailbag, but we didn't have enough time to finish it. And so we were like, okay, that's the one that it was just me, Kazuo, and Enzo.
Right.
And then we were like, yeah, let's just make this a topic.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting little discussion.
That's right.
We'll see if I can think of anything on the spot, because as per usual, I did not have time to prepare.
You know, if you did prepare, I wouldn't know who you are.
Yeah, right? Well, I don't even know what I would do. It might be terrible. Like if I actually prepared for something and I just failed miserably.
You over prepare, and then
It's like,
yeah.
I made it through all of school without studying ever for anything.
Never?
Not once. Not even entirely sure how to study.
Are you serious?
Like I don't really understand the concept
I am
Wow.
right there with you. I never studied.
So
I studied my ass off.
I don't really. How does it? Would you just read stuff over and over again?
Flashcards, you make. Yeah, I mean,
there's no time for that. I'm living my life.
When you're a little kid,
No, God no.
when you're a little kid, nothing that you do in your life means jack shit.
Yeah.
I mean, really nothing. I mean, that's well.
Nothing any of us do in our life.
I'm not,
means
I don't
anything.
want to dive. I don't want to dive into the deep.
It's all meaningless.
I don't feel like I retain information when I'm forced to like read it over and over and over.
Yeah. But imagine if I had studied and then just failed miserably.
Well, I'll tell you right now. Just by going to class and sitting there, you're studying.
I'm not paying attention in class.
Oh.
Damn. How did you graduate?
I don't know.
Did you graduate?
There were some clerical errors for sure.
Wow.
That helped.
Were there some bribes made?
There's
No.
some favors.
There were some sexual favors. So
Oh, no.
before we get into that, we've got the big news of the week, everyone.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Your favorite, man. This guy's your favorite.
My favorite director of all time
Doesn't he love him, Mandy? He loves him so much, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Has-
it's his favorite.
has
He
announced.
has all of his movies on
Yep.
Blu-ray.
Yeah,
His name tattooed on his ass.
I have. Yes, that is correct. So the legendary Makoto Shinkai has announced a new movie that he is to be working on, and it is called Tenki no Ko, or Weathering for You.
With you.
With you. Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right, so I just gotta say
Yes.
another title that is translated to something that is not remotely what it means
Yeah.
in Japanese.
What does it mean?
Literally,
Yes.
the weather's child.
Oh,
So maybe child of the weather.
I feel like that's a better name.
Weathering with you means that you're like in a storm, in a building, like
Yeah.
hunkered down, weathering the storm,
Right.
or like, you're gonna withstand something. You're gonna toughen up, and you're gonna stick through it and survive it.
Mitz,
That is not at all what this freaking means.
I have not read the synopsis of this movie. I don't know anything about it, but I am going to dive into the depths of my psychic
Okay,
abilities.
dive in. Oh, okay.
And I'm going to try to look into the future, to search through the ether.
Wait a second. Wait for it. Oh.
Behold,
Oh.
listeners, coming down from his holy mountain. It's Kazuo, the god of
I
anime.
totally forgot we had this.
Self-proclaimed god. めんどくさい、もう。
Oh,
Okay,
I
no-
really like that. That's cute.
I totally forgot we even had that drop. That's hilarious.
That's really cute.
I'm going to dive into the ether. I'm going to search through my vast understanding of the universe and how it works to tell you what this movie is going to be about.
Okay, lay it on me, brother.
Okay, now
Oh, wise god of
I
anime.
feel like Makoto Shinkai is going to kind of step away from what he's been known to do, and instead, he is going to create a movie about a young boy who falls in love with a young girl. But for some tragic reason, they can't be together. And in the end,
Yeah.
it might work out, but you're not going to know for sure.
Plus feet.
It's going to be up to your interpretation.
Okay.
And that is what this movie. And I also believe that it is going to be critically acclaimed, and everyone is going to say it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Okay. So, do you want me to read the synopsis
Oh,
now?
okay, yeah. I have not read the synopsis, so please tell me.
Okay, so film coming out in July, July
In July.
19th in 2019.
Okay.
So they're gonna market it as 19 on 19.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, JK.
Okay.
The movie is about
Uh-huh.
wait for it,
All right.
a boy
A boy.
and a girl
A what?
who get their destinies messed around with
Get out of here.
during the era when the balance of the weather gets messy.
Oh, no.
Hotaka Morusaki, a high school student who ran out of the house in a solitary island in Japan, meets Hino Amano, a girl in Tokyo with a mysterious power who
Oh,
can
wow.
make the weather sunny just by praying.
Oh, wow.
The way that we pray to you, O God of anime.
This is,
Kazuo.
yes. Thank you.
Oh, Kazuo, all wisdom and wiseness. So the end. So a boy and a girl.
A boy who
Your-
falls in love with a girl.
Your foretellings are wise, O God of anime.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm sure it'll be great.
It'll be pretty.
I'm
You know
sure
that.
everyone will love it. Except me.
So now that I've read the synopsis and now that I'm reading the kanji on the title of the movie, Weathering with You, 100% not what this means.
Right.
It definitely means child of the weather or the weather's child, which definitely makes a lot more sense based on the synopsis. So can we please quit making these bullshit translations?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. Original concept, script, directing by Makoto Shinkai, character design, Masayuki Tanaka, who worked on Anohi Mitahana no Namae o Boku Tachi wa Mada Shiranai.
Nani?
Nani kore?
That's a mouthful.
Hotaka Morisaki is one of the cast members. He plays Kotaro Daigo, who he worked on Yomushi Pedal. He was in Yomushi Pedal. And Hina Amano is Nana Mori from Kokoro ga wow, holy heaven, this is a word. Sake Bita Gaterunda, a live action movie. So,
all right.
I mean, the cover looks gorgeous.
Sure, of course. He does great background art.
Now, here's the question for you guys. Even if this movie, is this going to be like, are we now in like, all right, don't hate me.
I have never hated anything in my life.
Are we now in like are we now in Marvel movie land for Shinkai? Like like this movie could be like Ant-Man level quality. Like let's be honest, a bad movie.
No, Ant-Man was okay.
Dude, it was campy and ridiculous.
That's kind of the point.
It was, dude. I watched that movie and I was like, they're really reaching.
Okay.
All right. So let's just say like, my point being, it doesn't matter how good the movie is.
Right.
It will make $1 billion.
Correct.
Specifically because it's Shinkai.
100%. I agree.
Ant-Man being good or not, I'm just saying that like the Marvel movies are so popular, they could make a horrible movie and it would still make $500 million.
Sure. Yeah.
Makoto Shinkai could literally just have like a dog taking making like multiple dookies.
Well, is the dog in love with the dookie?
Can they be together in the end?
I feel like that would be more his speed. Yes.
Oh, you're killing me here. All right. Okay. But so you guys agree that are we in that place?
Yeah, it's going to be insanely popular and it's going to make a ton of money. And everyone's going to love it, even though it's the same story he's told every single time.
I see what you mean. I don't know. The artwork in all of his movies are so beautiful, though. I love
the background art is
them.
beautiful.
Yeah.
His characters are not great.
So like that's what I'm saying, Mandy. Like my thought, I was just having that thought. Your exact thought you just said was my thought too. We were in total sync there. Sync ratio 900%. Our Avas are dancing.
Oh wow.
My thought was are people watching Shinkai movies now because they are just artworks? Like they're works of art more than they are like
I'd say so.
well-told stories, maybe. Like you're going there to have your mind visually blown, and not to have your intellectual palette painted this masterpiece of storytelling.
Yeah, I think there's a few things. One, a lot of his stuff is very pretty to look at, so that attracts people. Also, he has been acclaimed for some time now, and has been kind of pushed as like the next big thing. You know, when he was a bit younger, people were like, this is the future of like the anime industry, and this is the next Miyazaki and all that stuff. So he's been super hyped up, and I think people buy into that. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So. No, he hasn't done anything that's really angered me. I mean, yeah, all the stories are very similar, like have very similar themes, but I mean, it's nothing that I've been like, man, this is just awful. I can't even watch it.
No, I don't think any of his stuff is awful. I think it's just severely overhyped.
Yeah, I see that.
You know, it's like his stuff it's good, I would say, but people are like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is so mind blowing. It's like, not really. It's kind of the same stuff.
Look, you're not wrong.
Especially the artwork in Garden of Words. I was like, this is just so beautiful to watch. I don't even care about the story.
Yeah.
Quick rundown to Kazuo's point.
Okay.
Voices of a Distant Star. Girl goes off to space. Boy stays on Earth. They communicate with cell phones, but they can't be together.
Yeah.
Your Name. Two people like lived in the same place, and then their parents move or whatever, and they get split apart, and then they can't be together, but they're like spiritually sort of together, but not really.
Right.
The Garden of Words.
Garden of Words.
Boy falls in love with like a teacher,
yeah.
who they can't really be together because they're not the same age and they're from like different times or
Right.
whatever. They can't be together, but they're in love.
Yeah.
Your Name. They're from like different timelines, but they get their wires crossed, so they're in love, but they live in like different
And they can't be
centuries.
together. Yeah.
And they can't be together. And I feel like I
Who
can't.
hurt you, Shinkai? That's what I want to know.
It's been a while since I've seen Place Promise in the early days or whatever. So maybe one of you knows.
I don't.
Mandy?
No.
No, okay. So that one may or may not follow that trend. I'm assuming it does. Someone in the chat will say. And then Children Who Chase Lost Voices from Deep Below. If I'm not mistaken, that is about going to like the underworld to retrieve someone's
That
soul
one
or
was
something?
different. That was his attempt at copying
He
Miyazaki.
Do
That's true.
She and Her Cat, which is completely different from everything we've mentioned.
Anyway.
That was the one about, it was mostly from the cat's point of view, living with this woman who took him in.
Damn, that's like his first thing he ever did.
Yeah. Children Who Chase Lost Voices was a blatant ripoff of Miyazaki and an attempt at doing something like him, except poorly.
I recall there being a lot of like Princess Mononoke sort of
Yeah.
influence in that movie.
I mean, even the character art looked like something from Miyazaki's work. But
Okay.
whatever.
Well, I'm sure it'll be good, probably. So we're all looking forward to that. Coming out July next year, which is very soon. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, you can just crank that stuff out, man.
No.
Every year, you just tell another story about a boy falling in love with a girl who can't be with her, and then just be like, let's get this pumping.
Man, because what do you got against love?
I don't want to drone on and on about Shinkai for too long, but
Yeah.
like I just hope he doesn't get. I hope someone doesn't get and hit their fingers in him and drag him to the place where he has to make a new movie like every 2
Yeah.
years, because like Isao Takahata would take as long as he freaking wanted to make a movie because his movies were art or artwork to him, and he would spend if it took 8 to 10 years, it took 8 to 10 years. So like Shinkai, I hope he doesn't rush these movies and make these like terrible movies. I hope they don't end up being terrible because they're like, oh, you make so much money now. You have to make a movie every 2 years. And then it gets to the point where he's like, you know, recycling ideas, which he's kind of already doing, but like even worse, and like making movies that are subpar visually because...
I think he just needs collaboration. I think he needs somebody else to co-write with him because
I think he needs a big...
I don't think he's a strong writer.
I think he needs a big staff behind him.
Yeah.
If he's going to start... If that happens. If they're going to let him be alone and do his thing, then, you know.
Yeah. Hey, it's working.
Shall we move on?
Let's do so.
Trouble.
Make it double.
Shut up! You haven't had one useful thing to say since you got here.
This is funny.
Literally.
Funimation.
It's funny.
Ha 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 ha. Funimation president Gen Fukunaga talks Netflix's acquisition of Evangelion and says, quote, "We do better at brand managing." So this is not the first time in this episode. We will be talking about Gen Fukunaga because he has opened his mouth a few times this week. And he says that he spoke to Polygon and said that, quote, "I'm 100% sure we'd have done a better job at brand managing it and turning it back into what it was, that being Evangelion." And he says that Evangelion on Netflix will get lost in an overwhelming amount of content. So he uses My Hero Academia as an example where, quote, had My Hero Academia gone onto Netflix, it would have just dropped onto the platform with any number of titles and probably have died as a brand. Funimation markets it 360, theatrical marketing, etc., gets it available on iTunes, Xbox, PlayStation, and gets it on other streaming platforms on its own. It really promotes it 360, which I'm not sure what he means by that. But
yeah, isn't Netflix also on all of those?
Yeah.
See, like I think he's making an ass out of himself.
Yeah,
because
by 360 he's talking about like there are like 360 deals in the entertainment industry, which basically means that you are responsible for promoting your product or your artist on every platform. So the internet, television, radio, all that stuff.
I think he's making a fool out of himself here because like Netflix is can someone find the current subscriber number for Netflix?
Everyone. It's everyone on Earth.
Everyone.
7 billion.
I'm gonna look this up. Subscriber count Netflix, 125 million subscribers as of when? That was as of
This is in the
6
third
months
quarter.
ago.
2018, Netflix had over 137 million streaming subscribers worldwide.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So in April, it was 125. And then in the third quarter, and only 4 or 5 months later, it had grown by 12 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just going to speak to Gen Fukunaga. Like, you think you're going to reach more people than that?
No. Well, I don't think it's that.
Sir,
I don't
hello?
think it's that he's saying he has the ability to reach more people. I think what he's saying in a weird way is that they promote things, I guess, better in a way.
But he says the brand will die. Like, it's going to get lost.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. He's saying that like if a show like Evangelion or My Hero Academia or anything were to be put out on Netflix, Netflix wouldn't promote it. They would just put it out with all the other anime that they have on there, and they would just kind of like just be lost in the mix. Whereas with Funimation, they're promoting the crap out of it in every opportunity. Now, of course, they can't. They don't. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of understand where he's coming from, because think of something like Children of the Whales. People who don't watch anime probably have never heard of it, even despite it being on Netflix. But
Right.
a lot of people have heard of My Hero Academia because it's plastered on everything.
Yeah, and
So I
Netflix
kinda
would
get
not
what
promote
he's
it like
saying.
that.
Yeah.
Netflix only really promotes their originals. You know?
Yeah. I see what he's saying.
I'm also not. I mean, I guess I understand that, but like I'd have to see metrics on like how many people watched on Netflix, because for all I know, more random people watch Children of the Whales on Netflix, just random people, than Funimation could ever hope for. So like you're saying, oh, they reach more people, or
Yeah, but then there's.
I mean,
well,
measurements.
Let's just say, even though I doubt that's the case, but let's just say for argument's sake, more people watch Children of the Whales.
Okay.
That the popularity of My Hero Academia and versus the popularity of Children of the Whales is like not even.
Yeah, but that's not because of what Funimation does.
Just in general pop culture.
But that's not because of. But that's not because of Funimation.
I think a big part of it is.
I
it's
think-
because they're putting it out in front of people
I
on
think
every
it's
platform.
I mean, before it even got to Funimation, it was already massive.
In Japan.
Yeah, but that's like where that's where the popularity comes from.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Just having it redubbed, it doesn't make it popular.
yeah. I see what he's saying though about how they are promoting these products more than Netflix would, and it's because Netflix has so much that's available on their service. Why are they going to promote some random anime? Like a lot of people don't even realize Netflix has anime. Like it's just so.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I can't really. Simply, I mean, I'm just gonna keep defending Netflix here because it's more interesting that way. But like, simply by having Netflix say to you, "You watch this, you might like this,"
Yeah.
might reach enough people to make his point mute. Like, who really goes on iTunes to get movies?
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but I know a lot of people that get most of their movies on iTunes.
I mean, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's nowhere near 137 million people.
Well, no, that's
You
crazy.
know what I mean? And the people that are on Xbox watching movies are probably watching them on Netflix anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like the other thing is that this is Evangelion. So like, what is he talking about? Like the brand is going to die. It's Evangelion. Like
Yeah.
the brand of Evangelion is bigger than Funimation's brand. So like, what are we talking about?
Even I couldn't kill Evangelion.
You couldn't kill Evangelion with
Much to your dismay.
Much to my dismay.
you couldn't kill it with 100 venomous drops.
Yeah.
He goes on to say he was honest that he wanted the license for Funimation. Quote, honestly, Netflix is willing to significantly overpay for something like Evangelion and outbid anybody by multiples, no matter what their return on investment is.
Mm-hmm.
I just think
I think it's funny.
He's being a crybaby about it.
Yeah. It's funny because, it's like you never see you rarely see somebody who's on top punching down at the people
Netflix
below
doesn't
them.
give a shit about
Yeah,
them.
but he's like, but it's always the little guy who's like punching up at the person who's way bigger than him.
Well, here's the thing, right? Netflix has 137 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Funimation has like 1 million.
Yeah.
So it's like Netflix is making their stock price is like $800. It's ridiculous.
What was the point of him even saying this though?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
He's-
I was waiting for a second. I was
He's just lashing out about it. Like that's all
does
it
he
is.
just like want people to give him credit? Is that what this is? Because it sounds like, well, we did a better job than they ever could.
He was just
Like,
trapped
that
in
just
a
sounds
heated
so
moment. He was just trapped in a heated.
Childish.
He's just trapped in a heated moment in an interview with Polygon, and you're exactly right, Mandy.
yeah.
They probably poked him about it as they should, and he went off.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
I don't know.
But it's like Netflix makes so much money, they can just buy a property like Evangelion.
they
for
could
their
buy
system.
Funimation.
Oh my God. Like every day.
Yeah.
For the next 6 years. And it's like, they could be like, okay, well, here's your $5 million for Ava. And they're not even going to think about that.
Yeah.
They're spending like billions of dollars on content. Like, sorry, Funimation. Like, that's just the way it is. Netflix is better than you.
Yeah. And it
just is.
Kind of makes you look bad when you're just taking shots at people for no reason.
I mean,
You're
doing a great job. Like, Sony's behind you. Like, but even, man.
Geez, somebody outside has like a really loud car.
That's a motorcycle.
Good Lord.
Anyway. I almost feel bad like ripping on him, but like he's the one opening his as the president of a company, he should be a little more mature about things.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're actually gonna have another story in a minute where he's gonna lash out again, which is kind of
Oh, joy.
but
I'm sure that one is just as well thought out.
All right, well, so let's move on to good old Enzo's segment. Even though Enzo's not here, it will live on in his absence.
All right.
皆さんおめでとうございます Join us in Enzo Senpai's Notice Me corner.
Who would like to read the lovely submission?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, yeah.
Mandy, do it in a way that would make Enzo happy.
Do it in Enzo's voice.
No, I'm good. I'm not even going to attempt that. This one is from Sakura Tetris. And he or she, I'm pretty sure it's a he, says, "Hey AAs, I have a small success I would like to share. For the past year, I have been learning how to draw and the basics of animation from scratch in order to make storytime animations about Dungeons & Dragons, to share fun stories and my thoughts about the game. I was able to release my first such video on YouTube last week. It's been a lot of work, and though simple, I am very proud of it, and it has given me a greater respect for digital/hand-drawn animation alike. If you'd like to take a look, it's called Karis the Rogue Killed by Curtains on YouTube." That's awesome!
That's right. Congratulations.
Yeah, there is another channel that I love watching on YouTube about that has like... Sorry, I forgot about that drop. But there's another guy on YouTube that's like hand-drawn animations for Dungeons and Dragons, and I love watching those. So that's pretty awesome. And yeah, it's great to share your Dungeons and Dragons stories with other people because they're a lot of fun to watch. So I think that's awesome.
Congratulations, and thank you for submitting. We always we're always here to sort of love the listeners and make you feel happy and do what we can to recognize your achievements.
It's awesome that you're learning how to draw because drawing is not easy. So, yeah, good job.
Very cool.
All right, well, are we ready to dive back into the land of Gen Fukunaga?
Let's do it.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
Oh, we haven't done this segment in a hot minute.
Yeah, it's not even on the overlay, so that's cool.
So, 2018, Japan has chosen their kanji of the year.
The kanji of the year.
They do this every year.
All right.
So, the Japan Kanji Aptitude Testing Foundation, or the Kanva, has announced on Wednesday. I'm just kidding. In a ceremony that the kanji character Sai, meaning disaster or misfortune, is the 2018 kanji of the year.
I feel like they could have picked a better one.
And the reason why this is the good is because they're spinning it in a positive way here.
Okay.
So, natural disasters have been abound in Japan this year with earthquakes, typhoons, floods, record high temperatures, all hitting Japan. And many voters said that they were reminded of the importance of preparing for emergencies as well as a sense of duty to help one another in difficult times due to the kanji. Also, due to various political scandals, it reinforces a widespread feeling that disasters are not only natural, but also man-made. And so they want to be conscious of that as well. So they're kind of spinning it in a happy way.
Okay.
So that's why I made it the good. For the bad, Japan wants more foreign workers, but they may not want Japan.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So on the last week, Mandy, you'll recall that
I do.
Japan was passing a bill to have more foreign workers brought in, but it was getting a lot of negative publicity because it was founded the same way that a prior initiative to bring workers to Japan was that led to a lot of like civil rights violations and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So a study shows that Japan despite changing its laws to allow foreigners to enter the country to work, could struggle to compete with other countries for worker immigration. A survey showed that Japan's population, this is a very big survey, like a nationwide survey, showed that Japan's population would grow by just 1% should there be global freedom of movement from country to country.
That's weird.
That being, should you be able to just go anywhere you want at any time, then Japan's population would grow by a mere 1% compared to 147% for Canada, 46% for the U.S., and
USA, number 1.
Although Japan is not number 2 apparently.
Well,
although Japan not being last because South Korea would grow by negative 17%.
Wow. So people would just leave South Korea.
Trying to get the hell out of South Korea.
Damn.
Apparently. Japan was only 29th out of 63 countries in terms of ability to attract and develop talent, even behind Taiwan and Estonia.
Estonia?
Yep.
I don't even know where Estonia is.
By the IMD World Competitiveness Center. So, Japan, do whatever you want. Try your best, but just don't have too high of expectations.
Do we have any listeners in Estonia, do you think?
I do not know.
That'd be awesome.
Now, back to Ken Fukunaga, the Moe.
Oh, here we go.
So this isn't actually as bad as the prior one. He's not being quite as much of a child, but he says, "We tried to renew the deal with Crunchyroll."
Oh, no.
Funimation Entertainment President I think we need to have a Gen Fukunaga drop.
God damn it. Yeah, right?
I think we do.
It's Gen.
What kind of drop could he have?
It's Gendo. He spoke out again regarding the break in the deal between Crunchyroll and Funimation. They tried to renew the partnership with Crunchyroll, but Crunchyroll's terms did not suit Funimation. He stated, Sony had to make this tough decision. If Crunchyroll wasn't going to budge on those terms, then we just had to double down and decide if we're going to go at it alone, and that's what happened. He says that the terms that he's referring to were Funimation's streaming rights would have been restricted to certain regions under the Crunchyroll deal, and Sony Pictures, which acquired a majority stake in Funimation last year, has the infrastructure in place to make Funimation global, so Sony advised Funimation to terminate the Crunchyroll deal so that the company could expand its borders globally.
I understand that, because I used to watch anime with somebody who lived in England, and he came over here, but he lived in England, so when he was back home, we would watch anime together. But there we ran into a whole bunch on Crunchyroll that he could not watch because it was blocked.
That sucks.
So yeah, I understand that. If they're like, man, we really want everybody to be able to watch our shows, but if Crunchyroll is like, no, we're blocking them in these countries, that sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's probably not them purposely saying like, you know what, England, you're not getting this show. I'm sure there's all kind of legal reasons behind it, getting rights to different countries. But I'm curious to see how this all works out, because Funimation was not doing so great a few years back.
I don't even know how they got bought for $100 million.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Like, prior to them kind of teaming up with Crunchyroll, they were not doing so hot. And Crunchyroll kind of, at least as I remember it, kind of helped them out. And now Crunchyroll, I feel like, is doing really well, especially with Verve.
They lost a shitload of titles, though.
Yeah.
You see that
list?
Dude,
by Funimation leaving. But like, I feel like Verve is such an awesome platform because, and that's owned by Crunchyroll, because of, a single subscription and getting access to all these different other, streaming services. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I don't know. It's just kind of up in the air at this point.
Isn't Crunchyroll itself owned by like ABC though?
I'm not sure.
I'm 100% sure that that's the case.
Oh.
I'm going to look this up.
Funimation on its own have the ability to have a title seen everywhere, but Crunchyroll doesn't. I don't understand that.
Sony does, apparently.
All right, so I guess Sony has a larger reach, I guess.
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
So I'm not really sure exactly.
But Sony as a company has had a lot of issues themselves, like with the movie, the film branch of Sony has had a lot of issues with hemorrhaging money. A lot of their consumer electronics outside of the PlayStation have not been very successful at all.
No, Sony has not done well.
Yeah, so this is interesting. This is really interesting. I'm not sure who's going to end up on top here.
You know what's funny? You want to hear how big Netflix is?
How big?
Crunchyroll only has 2 million paying subscribers.
And Netflix has 130 something.
That's like 1.5% of what Netflix has.
Yeah.
Can you? That is insanity.
It's crazy.
Dude, we all should have bought Netflix stock like 10 years ago. I mean,
For real.
back when they were like on discs.
Dude, I had Netflix back when it was on disc.
Me
only.
too.
Yeah.
But I didn't own any stock. It
It's true.
was probably $1 back then. Now it's like 800. What is their stock price? I'm gonna look this up. Someone do the news or someone do the trivia.
All right, so we are going to take a news break. Before we do, we have our trivia for the week. Of course, on the website, every week we update we try to update the trivia, and you can go there, answer the question. The answer for this week was Mitsuki's favorite
it's
show.
a mystery.
What? Huh? What? What's a mystery?
I don't see an answer. Do
It's
you?
Hitalia.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Yeah.
was looking down, farther down.
It's Mitsuki's favorite
Dude.
anime of all time.
Dude,
Hitalia.
10 years ago, Netflix's stock was. Can it be?
Could it be? Is it possible?
10 years ago, Netflix's stock was $4.
Oof.
It's $270 now. Dude, you would have made 80x your money. Dude, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you could have put like $5,000 in and retired by now. Oh, so sad.
Damn.
Well,
Now we got to find the next big thing.
yeah, it's still Netflix.
Oh.
It's growing by 20 million people a year.
Well, maybe you should invest.
I know, but I'm scared. It's already $270.
All right, so the correct answers, there's only one listed on here, Mitz.
Well, that's because I can read them all off for you.
Oh, no,
if
that's
you
okay.
want. I just didn't write them. I just didn't write all that. You want me to read them?
Is he the winner of the week?
He's the
though?
winner of the
Oh,
week.
the winner of the week then is Icyrose.
That's right.
I'm waiting
The
to hit that
winner of the
drop.
week was empty, so I was like, is there no answer?
Yeah.
There it is.
So
Congratulations.
I guess the theme is it continuing to be
It's still Christmas
anime?
Because next week we will do a Christmas episode.
Oh, very interesting. I'm excited.
We're gonna talk all Christmas shit.
Oh,
All right. Sweet.
Well, as much as we can, because Japan doesn't give a crap.
Not a lot of
about-
Christmas there.
Just
Can
I was
care
gonna
about
say,
Christmas at
do
all.
we
we
have
all-
enough to talk about?
We'll have a Christmas topic and
Yeah.
Christmas trivia.
Are we all
and
gonna have
Christmas this.
KFC?
That's what I was about to ask, Mandy.
Oh, you want to have KFC?
Are we
can
gonna order
probably
KFC?
We can probably manage this.
I haven't had KFC in literally years. because-
Same. I think it's been like 3 years since I've had KFC.
Because the last time I had it, I ended up in the hospital, hooked to an IV.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
not well.
What'd you
KFC.
do?
KFC not very good.
Really bad food poisoning.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. We're going to take a news break. Before we do, we have an in-show weekly trivia question for you as well. Mandy, you want to read that one?
Sure. Our trivia question that we will answer after the break is, which of the following does not describe somebody assassinated in the anime Kite? Child molester, actor, accountant, or TV star?
I
And
love
the
how
answer-
I love how you were so excited about that. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
child
Sorry,
molester?
I was just reading. I didn't know what was coming up. But we will answer it after the break.
Hey, wild anime addicts out there. Mitsuki's here, and it's time for your first round of anime news. Leading us off, we have some Senki Zesho Symphogear news from XV, the new TV series that's been announced. It looks like it's going to be postponed back to the summer of 2019. They really didn't give a reason for the postponement, but it looks like you should be aware that if you were looking forward to having new Senki Zesho Symphogear coming out prior to that, you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to the summer of 2019's anime season. Next up, it looks like game developer Kolopal has announced that a new TV adaptation of a very anticipated video game is going to be having an anime. Shido Neko Project, a role-playing game, is going to be getting an anime adaptation. It's going to be coming out in 2020. Shido Neko Project is set in a fantasy world full of mysterious runes that are full of magical ancient energy. According to legends, No one really knows where they are. The story centers around the adventurers that are trying to unearth these artifacts. The anime is going to be based around the, quote, Zero Chronicle Hachimaru no Tsumi, or the First Sin event in the game, which is the cornerstone and main part of the game's story, which depicts the past of the Shironeko universe. So if you're a fan of the Shironeko Project mobile video game, this is going to be getting an anime adaptation coming out in 2020. Next up, a little bit of special interest news. It looks like the 5th volume of Rolling Stone Japan has included a poster from Zombieland Saga, which has the characters of Fran Chocho on a poster that comes with the magazine that looks like a cover of the Rolling Stone magazine. So you can actually see them on the cover, which is kind of cool. If you're a fan of Rolling Stone or a fan of Zombieland Saga, you might want to obtain a copy of Rolling Stone magazine Volume 5, as the poster inside is pretty cool. It might make a little interesting item for your bedroom. Lastly, we have some manga rankings from the whole year of 2018, which is pretty cumulative total here, since we are now at the end of the year. Shonen dominating the list, the top 5 being Haikyuu with 5 million total copies sold, Slam Dunk at number 4, which is very surprising considering it's a very old series, 5.2 million copies sold, Attack on Titan with 5.2 million copies sold, My Hero Academia coming in second at 6.7 million copies sold, and of course number 1, still the king of the pirates, One Piece, with 8.1 million copies of the manga sold. The others on the list were Kingdom, Nanatsu no Taizai, Yakusoku no Neverland, Tenshi Shitara, Slime Dataken, or the when I was reincarnated as a slime anime, and also Tokyo Ghoul, rounding out the list. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. Now, time to get back to the podcast.
My friends are annoyed because they think I have forgotten their actual names. I just call them my senpais and kohais now.
I threw a tennis ball at my cat. I was so caught up in the moment and thought maybe I could capture her, and then we could go on adventures together.
I purchased a motorcycle just so I could pretend I was Onizuka.
I answered the phone with Moshi Moshi.
My poor cat.
I may actually have a problem.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Hello, I'm Mandy from the Anime Addicts Anonymous. Do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you? Do you have 8,572 waifus? Do you struggle with having the theme song to Attack on Titan stuck in your head, even though Jaeger is the only word you know? Then you may be experiencing anime addiction. If you are experiencing anime addiction, then you should visit our website, AAAPodcast.com. At Anime Addicts Anonymous, we have dedicated ourselves to making your anime addiction worse. Worse! Yes, worse. Because the real world just plain sucks. So many resources await you. For just $5 a month, you will have unlimited access to our Hobby Addicts episodes. You will also have access to our hentai episodes, where you can watch a hentai along with us and hear our commentary. Give our after party episodes a listen, where you can hear us struggle to talk about our boring lives outside of anime. That $5 will go to helping us spread anime addiction throughout the world. Yes, it is time for you to make your anime addiction worse.
When it comes to Pokemon, don't mess with Kazuo.
I was in 6th grade, and I had Pokemon on my Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Pocket, I think, at the time. I was in gym class, and we were in the locker room, and I'm getting changed. This kid runs by, grabs my Game Boy, and bolts. And so I never got it back. Kid stole my Game Boy with my Pokemon in it. So in 6th grade, one of my electives, I was a teacher's assistant. This kid had that teacher. So I basically allegedly went into the computer and wrecked all of his grades.
Yes.
And found his locker combination, because the teacher keeps a record of all that. Allegedly broke into his locker, stole all of his Pokemon cards, which he had a ton of, and took all of his textbooks and threw them away. I think he assumed it was me. We did end up getting into a fight later on.
And you beat his ass?
Yeah, I got into a lot of fights in school.
You beat that kid's ass, didn't you?
Yeah,
Because you were used
definitely.
to fighting. Back to the show.
Hey, yo, what up, B? Welcome back.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome back to the 450.
What's up, my brother?
Okay, well, that was
Wah.
something. Welcome back to the 451st episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast.
I'm dancing, baby.
My name is Kazuo. The dancing lunatic to my left is Mitsugi, backing it up.
Hey, I like my ass here.
Well, that's something.
I'm shaking it at you.
Thanks for that. Nice jeans.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. We also got Mandy. Before we went on our break, Mandy, are you dancing?
No, I am not.
Okay. Well,
Music is cut off for me.
yeah, it just stopped.
It just stopped.
Before we went on our break,
But the dancing hasn't, baby. Here's my
oh god, the music still
baby.
lives on in his soul and his glutes.
Wow.
I forgot we got KFC in Japan. I was just thinking about that.
We did.
We did. Yeah, we went to KFC together.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot about that. Huh. All right. Well, we had an in-show weekly trivia question before the break. It was another one of those name that anime, I think. It wasn't.
No. This one actually had a question.
This is an actual question. It says, which of the following does not describe somebody that was assassinated in the anime Kite?
Mm-hmm.
We have a child molester, an actor, an accountant, or a TV star. And the answer, Mitsuki?
Accountant.
That's right.
There is actually a child molester in Kite, and he dies.
I've never seen Kite.
Yeah, it's something.
Am I missing out? Man, it really sounds like I'm missing out on this
Kite
one.
is actually
really well animated.
It's good enough that they made a Hollywood movie.
And there's some
that was bad,
insane fight scenes. And
Is this a hentai?
Well,
it is a hentai.
Yes,
but there is a non-hentai version that because the hentai in it doesn't seem like it's like it should be there.
No,
it's really out of place.
Yeah.
And it was good enough that they made a movie with Samuel L. Jackson,
which was terrible.
What?
Horrendous, absolutely unwatchable. But the anime, I think,
Samuel
is actually
Jackson was in it.
Oh yeah,
the anime is worth watching.
Yeah,
but it's very violent.
Samuel L. Jackson. You know what the L stands for?
I would act in anything.
Motherfucker.
What?
That's what it stands for. I'm just kidding.
That sounds like something he would say.
I know. That's why I said it.
Oh boy.
All right. So we've got a fan favorite.
That's right.
Segment here.
Maybe the favorite segment.
It's quite possible.
I mean, actually, we should do a poll
to see what the favorite segments are. I feel like we've done stuff like that before.
Yeah. I've asked like what segments people don't like, just to kind of like get them out of there if people aren't liking them. But maybe we'll do it after the Christmas poll.
After the Christmas poll?
There's a poll on the website right now asking you what kind of anime Christmas gifts you want.
The Christmas one.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, it's time for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
I've got a good one.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
Alrighty, so Mandy's Manga Minute is where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. We have something a little different today, and this one is very interesting. It is called The Life-Changing Manga of Tidying Up. Marie Kondo presents the fictional story of Chiaki, a young woman in Tokyo who struggles with a cluttered apartment, messy love life, and a lack of direction. After receiving a complaint from her attractive next-door neighbor about the sad state of her balcony, Chiaki gets Kondo to take her on as a client. Through a series of entertaining and insightful lessons, Kondo helps Chiaki get her home and life in order. So the life-changing manga of Tidying Up is a self-help manga based on the novels by Marie Kondo. The manga is illustrated by Yoko Uramoto, who has created her own character that interacts with Marie Kondo and really wants to sort her life out. There's only one volume, and it is printed in English, and it was published by 10 Speed Press. While this is a self-help manga meant to teach you how to properly tidy up, the character Chiaki does have her own little story. Throughout Kondo's lessons, we learn a little bit about her past, her interests, how she envisions her ideal lifestyle, and how she interacts with her neighbor. The main purpose of the manga, however, is to help those who are overwhelmed by the idea of change. It's supposed to help take away the over like the really daunting task of just having to do so much. And it's not just about throwing things away, as Kondo has repeatedly tells Chiaki throughout the story. It's about taking it one step at a time, finding those items that spark joy, how to tell if this item is really important to you, and also how to make the most of your space, such as how to properly fold your clothes. Similar to like how My Lesbian Experience of Loneliness is a self-help manga, I'm really interested in these books, like self-help books that are told through the manga style. I felt like I learned a lot from this book, and I would recommend it to other people who would like to clean up their living space and just don't know where to start.
That is kind of unique.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're wrapping like entertainment with things that are will be helpful for people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a novel out by Marie Kondo. It was called The Life-Changing, I think The Life-Changing Novel of Tidying Up or something like that. Life-Changing, I can't remember. But the manga is like just a drawn version of that with like her own little character in it. So I thought that was interesting.
I really appreciate like those like stories that are very non-formulaic and unique, and kind of, even if they're not something that everyone would necessarily be interested in, like I enjoy those. I guess, what would like esoteric be the right word for it?
I'm not sure.
Like, isn't esoteric like really specific?
You're using big words. I don't understand big words.
The novel is the life-changing magic of tidying up. So I think it's interesting when they take a novel. Maybe some people, I don't know who, just don't like to read.
Some people.
That's
Some
me.
people.
That's pretty
They
much me.
just want to see. Maybe they learn better with pictures.
First off, Mandy, I can't read. Okay, there's a difference.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
The poor man. He can't read. I mean,
yeah.
I'm so sorry to kick you while you're down. I'm sorry.
Well, on that note, let me read the main topic for today.
I am a
It's
she.
actually on my tablet here. It's
she.
not actual words. It's like hieroglyphics. It's just images.
Oh, okay.
You know, like instead of the word rose, it's a picture of a rose. That's the only way I can read.
Is there an ice cube next to it?
Yes. Wait, what?
Okay.
Why is there an ice cube?
We'll find out.
I see what you're saying. All right, so our main topic for today is going to be one that, as Mandy mentioned earlier on in the show, it was suggested by Icyrose. It was initially a mailbag, but we just didn't have the time. Nice. The time to dive into it, and so we thought, hey, let's make this like an actual topic, because this is something we could definitely talk on for a little while. I'll read the mailbag that Icy wrote in. It says, have you ever played a game or read a book and thought, as much as I love this could never work as anything other than a game or book because either the story or experience is so intrinsically tied to its original medium and adapting it would cause too much to be lost in translation? What stories have you read or played that look like they could lend themselves to being anime? Hold on. The sentence structure. Do you think actually wouldn't work? Okay. What stories have you blah 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 that could lend themselves to being anime? Do you think actually wouldn't work as an anime? And conversely, what anime do you think could only work as anime and would make a terrible game, book, manga, etc.? Okay, so what IPs are so specific to their genre that you think they could never work as anything but that? Is essentially what the question is.
Can I just say, before we even start, I just want to say this is difficult because, first of all, so many anime are already on another medium. They're either they're coming from games or books, or manga or light novels. So there are, like, I would say 95% of anime are already not locked in their medium.
But what percentage of that works?
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
I would argue
that
almost none.
That doesn't mean that they're good.
Yeah, I think for me, when I read this, I immediately was like, oh my god, there's a million anime that could never work as anything but an anime.
Well, like the thing is that, I mean, if a manga is successful enough that they make an anime, I mean, if they made an anime after it, then the manga was probably already successful, right? But so maybe the key is to look for anime that started as anime and then went backwards and became manga afterwards, and were a failed attempt.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I
do feel though like manga and anime are so tied together that is one area where it's like, okay, generally would work across both ways. But I think it's when you take it into a video game or into a live action movie, then that's when it falls apart. But like manga and anime, generally if it works as one, it'll work as the other.
And also there have been mangas that, you know, had anime adaptations created, and the anime adaptation was way more successful than the manga.
Sure.
Like, I think you have one on your list is a good example, and that was Fully Cooley. That one started as a manga, and it did not do as well as the TV show.
Or Ghost in the Shell.
Or, oh yes, Ghost in the Shell. Although I think that one was still popular, but
nowhere
man,
near
it's
the
so
same.
different.
Yeah.
I mean, we could start there with Fully Cooley if you want.
Okay.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So Fully Cooley,
I actually have this manga.
Fully Cooley. The reason why I put it is because I think that there are things that work better as anime and nothing else, and Fully Cooley is a good example of that because of how kinetic it is and how it's the energy of Fully Cooley is delivered in a way on screen that it wouldn't be able to be delivered in a manga. Is how I feel about it. The kinetic energy of the characters, how goofy the show is, means that it's going to be incredibly difficult to translate to something like a live action movie or like a Hollywood movie. First of all, because Fully Cooley, I just don't feel like it would work as a live action because it's too silly.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
And as a book or a light novel or a manga where things are generally like still, and by that I mean like you're not watching people jump around and be wild. Fully Cooley works better as an anime, I feel like.
I'm going to send our chat a picture of the manga because I think you are right. I do have this manga and it's not as good as the actual anime because I feel like a lot of the movement is lost in translation. It's really bizarre. You can.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely.
It's not as interesting to watch,
right?
Or to
I mean,
experience.
You can definitely tell a lot of the. I mean, a lot of it definitely. I mean, is very similar as far as like some of the shots from the show, but you're missing out on so much of the color and, as you mentioned, Mitz, the kinetic nature of it.
Yeah.
That it's just not the same.
And like novels and stuff, and by that I mean novels, like real novels, not like light novel, not visual novels. They can be kinetic, like the way it's written can create a flow and a pace and an energy in how it's written.
Sure.
But you're still losing the visual aspect of it. I feel like. In its true sense, like not your mind's eye visual aspect, but like literally you're like watching it.
And a lot of anime is very, I mean, it's very visual. Like, I mean, there are certainly anime that aren't that would do totally fine as books. Like you think of a lot of like slice of life or love stories and things like that don't involve a lot of, you know, really like exuberant animation. But I think a large percentage of anime is enjoyed because of the actual animation, of course.
Well, there you go.
So
there is one manga that's so bizarre and surreal, and I feel like to experience it outside of the manga format would be so weird. I don't think it would do well as an anime, and that's Oyasumi Pun Pun. I cannot imagine that as an anime because the main character is very unreliable, and he pictures himself and all of his family members as these like cartoon drawn birds. I don't know. The story's already so dark and bizarre and surreal, and I cannot picture it ever being drawn, like animated. I can't imagine him having a voice. I don't know. It's like, because Poon Poon also doesn't speak in it. Like, he doesn't have a dialogue bubble. All of his internal thoughts are shown on a black screen with just text. He never has a speech bubble. So I feel like putting that into anime would just be so bizarre. And it would take a very, very talented director to adapt that. And I don't know. I don't know if I want to see it.
Yeah, that's tricky. I was thinking of one that actually did it in a very interesting way, like transition from manga to anime, is Detroit Metal City. I don't know if either of you.
Yeah.
Because like the way that they brought that into the anime realm, they still maintained a lot of the shots from a lot of scenes or images throughout the show were almost like an image out of a manga. Like it was like the framing of the shot. It was really interesting. So it can be done. It's just very, I guess, rare when it's done in that way. You know, generally you have to kind of like recreate it in its own way. So I don't know. I know that's not the question he was asking, but that's one that I think of that did that transition really, really well.
Another manga that is being adapted into anime that I never would have expected was Dorohedoro. That manga is so bizarre and is such a distinct art style to it that it's going to be really weird seeing that outside of, like, seeing that animated. It is coming out, I think, next year, I think. Either 2019 or 2020, I can't remember, but it's going to be interesting to watch.
What's that one about?
Dorohedoro, I did a manga minute. It's like kind of, it's a dark fantasy where all of these citizens live inside of a hole, and it's kind of, I kind of want to compare the art style. It's very gritty, very, oh my gosh, I kind of want to compare it to Mad Max in a way. Just because everybody wears masks, but like the masks are so bizarre. Like one person has a mask of a heart, and the main character is like has the head of a lizard, and some wizard put him, or sorcerer I think it was, got rid of his memory, and so now he has this lizard head, and he's trying to figure out where this wizard is that put sorcerer put this spell on him because he wants the spell lifted and he wants his memories back. But there's also a man living inside of his mouth, and so when he puts when he bites down on someone's head, the guy inside of his mouth tells them whether or not they're like, you're not the one, and then he bites off their head. He's like, I guess the man inside of his mouth is trying to like knows who the sorcerer is. It's really bizarre.
That is really bizarre.
Weird.
It's so weird, but I am so fascinated by it. I've only read 2 volumes, but I'm planning on continuing it because it's so bizarre and so unique. And it's a very violent horror story. And the author is a woman, and I was not expecting that. Like I know that sounds weird, but I've never read a horror manga from a woman. I can't remember of another one.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
Horror is a subject that I had on my list as well. Like I think that, I always want more horror shows. I always say that, but part of me thinks that horror just isn't not a good genre for anime, and I feel like that for the same reason that I feel that way for shows, for content that has very mature characters or settings in it. And that is that, like, anime itself is, redundantly said, it's animated, right?
Right.
And so because of that, in the West, a lot of anime is presented for children. Well, and in that, it has a very sort of, quote, childlikeness to it.
Okay.
And so translating that medium to something that is horrific or frightening can be done. It's been done before, but I think that they oftentimes choose not to do it like that because I'm not sure that anime is the right medium for that kind of content. So, by that I mean, like, you end up with horror anime that are out there. For example, Higurashi is sort of a horror anime, or Denpateki no Kanojo or one of these other shows, but it's very an awkward fit because even with Higurashi, it's like little girl characters, bashing each other's heads open and stuff, and it's just awkward. Like, you're never gonna have Texas Chainsaw Massacre or
the anime,
or like or some really gritty, violent show in its truest in the horror sense that we think of, because anime is mostly shows where the characters are children, and shows where the characters are children don't make good horror shows.
Yeah, I mean, like, it can work, but generally, I get what you're saying. It's not the tropes of the medium don't necessarily allow for it, at least not regularly.
And so, like, I was thinking along the same lines, like, you're never gonna have a show like Game of Thrones being an anime. It's just not gonna cross that border because,
I mean, there've certainly been like fantasy shows.
Yeah, but like, all right, so if you made Game of Thrones an anime, like, what are you gonna do? Khal Drogo will be like a little kid or something. It's silly. It's
not necessarily. I mean,
but Game of Thrones is such a dark, vicious like series.
Yeah.
Where people were it just doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, you look at Berserk though. Berserk is way more dark than Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the day of Berserk
that's over.
Is
Yeah.
well past. You know, like
that's true.
You know, you're now in a time where, you know, at some moment in time, anything made a good anime.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, anime like Berserk, they don't pop up anymore.
Well, and if they do, they're not good.
Even shows like Goblin Slayer, which you would say, oh, it's kind of like Berserk. It's about a soldier with armor and there's like medieval monsters and shit. Great, but even that show has like big-breasted chicks and stuff in it, and elf girls and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I just don't think that like really mature content like Vikings or Game of Thrones, it's not going to translate well. It can, but it's not going to be an easy fit. And I'm just saying like, I'm more giving a conceptual example rather than giving you an anime example.
Right. I definitely get what you're saying, and generally that is the case.
So yeah, I just think like tough, serious subjects will translate more difficultly, and unfortunately, I think that's why you don't have a lot of horror shows.
Yeah,
they make better manga. They're better as ghost stories and like.
Yeah,
books.
it's interesting because Japan definitely has a history of like really great horror.
Yeah,
you know,
but they're mostly live action movies.
Yeah,
a lot of there's always going to be examples of horror in every medium, but. Like The Ring and stuff, they're films. So,
yeah, I was thinking about like Ju-on or Ringu. Like, I always wondered why they couldn't replicate that in anime, and I wonder a portion of the scariness disappears once it's no longer real people because you're no longer attached to them.
True.
I wonder if that has something to do with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, I feel like that definitely makes sense.
I uploaded some pictures from Dodo Hey Dodos because I was like, I feel like I'm like describing this so poorly. That's what I'm talking about. This man that lives inside his mouth.
What in the world?
Yeah. Just lives inside his mouth and says, you aren't the one. And this has an anime coming out. I'm so interested to see what this looks like.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
So the guy sticks the person's head inside of his mouth. There's a guy just chilling in there. And he looks at him and says, you're not the one. And then he bites the guy's head off.
Yep.
Well
then.
All right, then.
Yep.
That is going to be interesting.
There you go.
That is so weird.
That's some bizarre shit right there.
Yeah. What about stuff that you think couldn't, like, it's something that is an anime that would not work as, like, a live action, you know, movie or something like that? I feel like almost nothing can work. Yeah. Like, I think about just any typical shonen like My Hero Academia or Dragon Ball or something like that. That just couldn't work. What
are you talking about? Dragon Ball had a great action.
So like
I couldn't even say it.
I interpreted this mailbag topic in a little bit of a stricter way. So like he said anime that wouldn't even make good manga. So almost everything is thrown out because unless it's been just a terrible manga.
Right.
So like I've got some examples here. Like for example, going along with Fooly Cooly, a movie like Paprika that is so wild and kinetic. And there's another anime series. I'll never remember the name of it, but so Paprika is it's like a dreamlike movie.
Yeah.
From Satoshi Kon, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much chaos happening in that film that you're not going to be able to capture the energy of it in a manga or in a book, right? And it's not going to.
It was originally a novel in 1993.
But I wonder how well it was represented in the book in the novel. Like I haven't read it, but I don't know. But like I can't imagine Paprika being moved to like a Hollywood film.
I think I can.
Or an anime like
Inception did rip off a lot.
Yeah,
from
I was gonna
Paprika.
say that's pretty much Inception.
Yeah.
Or an anime that we all know I love, the Blockade Battlefront or whatever.
Ugh.
That is such a goofy show that is so wild and full of energy that you're going to lose the energy of it in the manga, and you're never going to translate that to live action because it would look absurd the entire time. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Forget it. It's done. That you know what, that might be my number one example. That anime is so locked in its medium that you're not getting Blood Blockade Battlefront in another medium.
I think it'll work as a manga. Isn't it already a manga?
Probably.
But like I'm saying, I feel like it's better. It could be a manga. Like Cowboy Bebop's a manga. That's on my list. Cowboy Bebop is a terrible manga. But was Blockade Battlefront a good manga? Like, I just don't feel like you're going to capture the grandiose scale.
It is a manga.
of the which Cowboy Bebop?
No, blood
Blood
like
Blood Black Bebop.
Kekai Sensen.
Yeah.
You don't have to say that.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Kekai Sensen.
The
Kekai.
BBB is like a tongue twister.
You know what I mean? They're like, we're like this, like a monster the size of a building rolling through a city, and people are like shooting missiles and screaming and running around, and
I could almost see it as like a live action movie done by like Guillermo del Toro or something. Like just they would have to like ground it a little bit more, but I can kind of see that weird like people in monster costumes at a coffee shop, and they're like detectives and stuff. Like I can almost see that. I don't know. But yeah, it would definitely be difficult for sure.
Another one they tried to do a manga of after the anime was Samurai Champloo, but they only did 2 volumes and they stopped. I don't know why they stopped.
Well, that's what they
did.
But
I do have those 2 volumes and they're not bad.
That's what they did with Cowboy Bebop. It was an anime first, and then they tried to make the manga.
Yeah, I guess they were just like, this is already successful. Why are we even bothering? But I put down, because he also mentioned games, and there are so many games that would never work as an anime, or even have anime art styles to them. Like I put down on my list, 90% of visual novels I've played would never work as anime. Even doesn't mean that they don't try to do that.
They try.
No, I try, but they're not good. I put down 90% because there are a couple that did all right, like Higurashi did all right, and Steins Gate did all right. But all the ones that involve like skipping through a timeline as the main mechanic would never work as an anime. Like Psychedelica, the Black Butterfly, the Zero Escape series, those, oh man, especially Zero Escape would never work out because the fun of that game is going through the escape the room mechanics yourself. And I can't ever imagine that being adapted. I feel like a whole part of the enjoyment would be gone. And Nier Automata would never work. I think he even mentioned Automata, because that also involves seeing events through different perspectives to get like the entire story. Like any dating sim I've played, it's like you have to go through each route in order to unlock parts of the story that were missing in other parts of the story, because you got to see things from different people's perspectives. And they try so hard to make those into anime, and they never work out because it's like you're missing so much information when you're just going down a single route or trying to smush them all together. It doesn't work out.
So our good friend Icyrose in the chat is bringing up video games that they've tried to make into like anime, and that's actually a really good point because I'm thinking of Street Fighter, like Street Fighter. They've made
an anime.
It has an anime. Has live action movies, and none of them are very good. Like,
can we all agree the first Mortal Kombat was amazing though, right?
Of course. Are you kidding me? Yeah, hell yeah. It's classic. But yeah, like all of these, like often they'll try to take these like fighting games and turn them into like anime or something, or live action movies, and it's like it just doesn't work. There's not enough story there to go off of. So that's something that you see quite often. I feel
put that down on my list too. I was like, games with strange or quirky mechanics, because at least for me, I don't play games for the story. It's fantastic when they have amazing stories, but as long as the game is engaging and the mechanics keep me interested, I'm okay with a game that has a lousy story. Like there's a game on the PS Vita called Orishika, and it has an anime art style to it. And it has such a weird, like almost non-existent story that it would never work as an anime ever.
Yeah, or even conversely, like when they try to make games out of already existing anime, that can work, and it has worked, but oftentimes, I mean, you think back to like the PlayStation 2, how many tons of different anime video games came out on the PS2 that were terrible?
Tons of them. Oh god.
Had one. Tons.
Yeah.
But that could be because the budget was just shit.
Sure. Or it could be that it doesn't make a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they've kind of found their footing with a lot of like the fighting games now. Like they'll do that with, Dragon Ball Z and Bleach and Naruto, and like I think they've kind of figured out that. But prior to that, there were tons of like anime games or anime that they tried to make into games that were just terrible.
Well, the problem with like trying to make Inuyasha a game, like in terms of the story, like a story game, is the story.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, no one ever played Dragon Ball Budokai for the story mode.
That's fair.
People played the story mode, but you buy it because it's a fighting game, right? And so, like, yeah, great. Dragon Ball makes a great fighting game. But you know the story.
Yeah.
You're kind of just going through it because it's fun to see the story again. You know?
Right.
But it's not like it's delivering something new to you. You know all the story points. Like, there's nothing to be surprised about or...
You know
that's a good one I see.
What's that?
It was God Eater. God Eater was a fun game, but man, apparently that anime was terrible.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that game, though, because it was almost like... kind of like Monster Hunter in a way, but you get like weird weapons that you from parts that you get off monsters, and I really enjoyed that game. But weird.
Something that I would love to see live action, I think would work really well, is Gundam. I would love to see, like, just obviously you have the giant, robots fighting, which is always cool. But like, there's also like the military aspect and all of that you can get into, like, story wise.
The tough part about that is the budget would have to be tremendous.
Yeah.
Unless it was a very subdued Gundam.
Yeah, that's what you can do that for sure.
I'm not talking like grand scale space battles.
Yeah.
But more like, we're down on Earth.
Yeah, like the original Gundam. The original Gundam was like, I mean, there were certainly mech battles, but like there were I feel like way fewer of them. It was a lot more it wasn't as fantastical as Gundam has become at times. It's very grounded. Like, there are still, Gundam is, real robots, so there's plenty of grounded
Usually.
Gundam shows. But
as far as I can tell, I'm not a pro
generally,
Gundam.
yeah, they've definitely gone wacky a few times. But yeah, I think you could definitely do that and tell a story about, a group of young people who were on a colony that was destroyed, and they're, found this robot, and they're trying to make it to a place, and like, you could tell that story easily. That would be a lot of fun.
Another example of anime that I think would struggle to translate anywhere else are grand scale movies that are appealing in large part because of how they look. Like, we were talking about Shinkai.
Yeah.
You're going to the Shinkai movie because you want to see how gorgeous it is. Right. And like, movies like that have been brought to paper, to books, where they'll tell the story and then they'll put like a literal screenshot from the movie in the book. Right? We've all seen that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like cheating. That's like still the anime in a way. Or like even some of the Ghibli movies. Yeah, like some of them, like Nausicaa, are already like renowned manga and whatnot. But a lot of these movies are from all kinds of random source material. But like a movie like Spirited Away, for example, is going to be best as a movie and not as anything else.
Yeah.
You can tell that story in a novel, but I feel like the visual feast of it is going to be lost in large part.
I think what's especially difficult is that when it's something that's so loved, and then they try to like take it into a different medium, and people have these expectations that are just impossible to meet.
I'm sorry, you can go ahead and finish because I was going to expand on it a little bit.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, for example, look at all the stuff they're doing with like live action movies, that they're taking these massively successful and popular anime and bring them over to live action, and it's like people have these expectations, and even if the movie ends up being okay becomes terrible because of the comparison.
Yeah, we recently experienced something like this with Manga Club. We read Kokoro Connect, which I had not previously read. Apparently, it was a manga created after the series. Like the anime was adapted into manga, and I had not previously seen the anime, so I was going into it fresh. But after that, I did start watching the anime, and it was interesting because I felt like the anime, so much of the anime was lost in translation with the manga, because that is a body swapping story, and I think body swapping stories are always going to work better as an anime, because in the Kokoro Connect anime, you get to hear the voice actors act out the other characters inside of their own main character, if that makes sense. Like if one boy becomes girl, like if they swap bodies, and suddenly the guy who's voicing this guy has to act out that person's voice in the other character's like personality, and that gets lost in translation on paper. It is not as entertaining.
Yeah, I can see that.
Also, Rakugo. Rakugo is a great manga. I'm collecting it and I love it, but a whole lot of it is lost in translation or lost. You're missing so much of the experience of hearing the performances acted out.
Yeah.
When you're not watching the show.
That's a great point.
Like, yeah, that's a really good point. Like, you think of a show that is largely based around like music. And trying to make that into a manga wouldn't work because you're totally missing out on a majority of what the show is about.
You might be able to make it like a live action movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe not. I mean, could the Rakugo voice actors do the performance live? You know, I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
Can they find an actor good enough to do that performance? I mean, they probably could, but I just don't know. You know, I'd like to see it. Actually, Rakugo would make a great live action movie. That could be
I think so too.
That could be a really powerful drama. I'd like to see them try to do that. I don't know if they succeed, but I'd like to see them attempt it.
Yeah.
I wrote Cowboy Bebop down here. I think the grand scale of it makes it difficult to put anywhere else. I know I've read at least a good bit of the Cowboy Bebop manga, and I can tell you right now, I don't find it very good at all. And I think that part of the reason for that is that I think they lose a lot of the style of the show when you translate it. Like, you're losing the music.
Yeah.
And the music is so important to Bebop. You're losing a lot of like the fluidity of the animation. And I think the grand scale of it makes it a difficult adaptation to other mediums like film. And I think that like Hollywood already sort of, in a way, proved that because they punted on the script. And we're going to find out pretty soon. But we're going to have a confirmation on how well that can be done with Netflix coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think Bebop is a decent example of that. I think that the anime's universe is just too big.
Yeah. Well,
sort of.
See, I think you and I differ on this one. I think they absolutely could do it live action. You would just do it in a similar way that you did like Serenity or Firefly. Same thing.
Like a microcosm?
Yeah. Yeah, you just keep it small, keep it on the ship for the most of the time.
But that's not Bebop anymore.
It is, though. A big part of Bebop takes place on the ship.
I mean,
and then when you're on a planet, you're just in a town, basically.
The ship is like the home base they go to after they have an adventure. I think only like one episode takes place only completely on the ship.
I'm not saying the entirety of it has to take place on the ship, but I'm saying like you don't have to do like some epic space battle. Like you can do like many of the Bebop episodes take place. They're on the ship, then they're on a planet, you know, in a town of some sort, and then back on the ship. Like it's not like you have to have these grand scale scenes.
Yeah, it's not like Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly have some of those, you know, like I remember like the scene where they're like flying through the that teleporter thing or whatever when they're chasing that lady who has all of like the rat dudes, like all of her.
Is that like yeah, what is the name of that episode? Gateway Shuffle.
Yeah, like that of course, but you don't have to do that. You can keep it smaller and more subdued, and I think as long as the story is good, you can do really well.
Not to open up a conversation about Cowboy Bebop, but I've just decided that the Netflix adaptation will not be good.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
That is unfortunate. I just have now. I somehow just in this moment have arrived at that in my mind. It will not be good.
I want it to be good, but I just don't see it happening.
And I will tell you right now. And here's my first reason: you will look at the first time you see Spike as a live action character, you will cringe. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Even if it was Keanu Reeves himself, like I think it was intended.
Yeah.
You will still cringe at it.
I feel like Keanu's the only one that could do it, but he's older now. He's like 50.
Put makeup on him.
That's true. And he's a vampire too, so he never ages. That's true.
Oh man. All right.
We all get our.
Manny, do you have more points here?
I can't think of anything else. I think I've mentioned everything that was like that I've had in my mind.
Okay.
The biggest one are visual novels. Don't work. Stop making them.
Yes, please. All right. Well, in that case, we will go on another news break here. Before we do, we have another In-Show Weekly trivia question.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to?
What's that, Mitz? Tell me.
I'm looking forward to when we have anime that are like a visual novel, where like a portion of the anime plays, and then it'll stop and ask the viewer a question.
Oh my god, I would love that.
Like a choose your own adventure
and
anime.
You will select this or this, and the anime will continue its animated series based on what you select. And maybe the whole run of it only has the length of 6 episodes, but there's 24 episodes of content in there because they will have multiple paths. And so like it'll be a 6-episode show, but it'll take them an entire like 24 episode, amount of time to make.
I love choose your own adventure stories. That's why I love dating sims so much. All visual novels. I don't know. There's something that I love about figuring out, like deciding what my character says. And I would love that. I love it so much.
They do have porn like that. Just so you know.
Did I really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, leave it to Kazuo.
Yep. I'll show you a few after this. Anyways, we're gonna take a news break. The in-show weekly trivia question. Mandy, you want to read that one?
Sure. So our in-show trivia, which we will answer after the break, is in the anime major, the main character Goro has 2 different last names during the run of the series. What are both these names? And we will answer it after the break.
All right. We'll see you after the break.
Hey, all you wild anime addicts out there, Mitsuki's back, round 2 of your anime news. First off, Kingdom Hearts 3, which is a highly anticipated game that we've been looking forward to for, since I was in high school, is now finally getting its release next month. And of course, unfortunately, with that, there have been some pretty massive leaks for the game. It looks like somebody obtained over 30 copies of Kingdom Hearts 3 in its entirety well before the release date and was selling them online and also broadcasting and streaming gameplay footage from the game, including movies which contain massive spoilers. Enough so that Square put out an actual message to the internet warning people about this. They said, quote, "We're aware that a small portion of Kingdom Hearts 3 has been circulating online before its official release date. We are also aware as to how this has all happened. We're sorry to see this cause concern amongst our fans who have been excited for the release. The whole team has been working together since yesterday night to investigate what we can do to better the situation. But first, we would like to ask that you do not share these videos." So many videos and leaks on the internet for Kingdom Hearts 3 before the game comes out. It's just a shame that we managed 10 years without any leaks, and now finally they're coming out. So look out online if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, and I've been looking forward to that game coming out. Now then, Pokemon's still pretty much the hottest thing going on right now with the Let's Go Pokemon game recently released, so why not have some Pokemon news? Pokemon the movie, The Power of Us, is now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon. The film had a release through Fathom Events in the United States back in November and also in December. It earned a pretty good amount of money in the box office, and the film is described as the story of Ash and Pikachu as they journey to a small seaside town filled with a diverse set of characters, including a young athlete, a compulsive liar, a shy researcher, a bitter old woman, and a little girl with a big secret. This is a pretty interesting and nice looking movie, and if you want to catch it, you'll be able to get it on those services now, so you might want to go get your Pokemon now that it's available online. Next up, High Dive has added Legend of the Galactic Heroes' films to go along with the original Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which it also already has streaming on their service. This is the first time that these movies have ever been available through online streaming legally in the West. So if you are a fan of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, you're going to want to go get the My Conquest is a Sea of Stars and others. So also, the synopsis for the story is that Reinhard von Mussel and Yang Wen Li, those are 2 names that history will remember. The story of these 2 men on opposite sides of the war is destined to resonate through the ages, but there was a time when they were both unknown soldiers. Little do they know their paths are about to cross in a battle for the very first time, this being the synopsis given online. So if you're a fan of the Legend of the Galactic Heroes property and you want to watch these movies legally, go check out High Dive. You'll be able to watch them on there. Next up, another anime has been greenlit. It looks like the anime Nobunaga Sensei no Osanazuma time travel comedy is getting an anime in 2019 in April. This coming from the manga. So this is going to be a pretty funny comedy anime, romantic comedy that centers around on Nobunaga, a middle school teacher who constantly dreams of an adoring, beautiful girl appearing in front of him. One day, Kichol, the 14-year-old wife of the real-life Sengoku Warring States period warlord Oda Nobunaga, does appear in front of him after apparently traveling through time. She mistakes the present-day Nobunaga for the historical Nobunaga and tries to get her pregnant. Oh my god. It's the first time I'd actually read that synopsis in its entirety, and I am now stunned by that. Anime just never ceases to amaze me. Okay, wow. Alright, Mitsuki's here, and now I'm gone. This was the anime news, and now we're getting back to the podcast. Are you looking to expand your anime collection?
Are you looking for a place where you can purchase all of your anime desires?
Ooh, then check out jlist.com.
At jlist.com, you can stock up on amazing merchandise. Want more cute moe figures, nendoroids, apparel, or even cute anime-related mugs? You can find all of them there.
That's right. They even have a snack box. Every month, JList will select the newest and best Japanese snacks and send them right to your doorstep. No subscription or long-term commitment is required. Just purchase whatever box you think looks appealing, and that's all there is to it.
JList.com even has items for those naughty anime addicts. Hentai, doujins, erotic visual novels, and even anime-related toys are available for you to use on your very own, or with a very special anime-addicted loved one.
JList.com has everything an anime fan could possibly want. Just head over to their website and check it out.
JList.com, your friend in Japan since 1996.
Just how outrageous are the hosts of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast?
Bulma, Brief, from Dragon Ball Z, is such a tease.
Anime.
You're gonna go over to Master Roshi's house every day, wearing your little short shorts, your little sexy tops.
Addicts.
But you're not gonna let him tap that ass, even though he wants to tap it and he gets nosebleeds all the time.
Anonymous.
He's 500 years old. The man can't die till he gets laid. Let the man rest in peace. All I gotta say is Master Roshi's sperm count is over 9,000.
Podcast. Don't miss a moment. Tune in at AAAPodcast.com and iTunes.
You know me? Of course!
We are back to the 451st episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. It's gonna be back. Before we went on our break, we had an in-show weekly trivia question for you, and that was: in the anime Major, the main character Goro has two different last names during the run of the series. What are both of those names, Mitsuki?
Goro Shigeno and Goro Honda.
I do remember this. Why did he have two different last names?
That's... Is it a spoiler if it happens in episode, 6 of a 160-episode show?
No.
In episodes, or very early on in the show...
He dies and is reincarnated.
Whoa. That's pretty deep for a baseball show.
Woo! Hey, Mandy, let's switch over to the other voice chat in the other server, because this one's effed.
Okay.
All right. There you go. Can you hear us, Mandy?
Alrighty.
Oh,
So
God,
that's
it's still
better.
effed. What is wrong with... Why do you sound like a robot?
Yeah.
I don't know, but my connection's good.
Oh, no, you're back. You're back. You're
Mandy's
good.
back. Okay, so, all right, so Cosmo, the reason is because in episode 6, 7, 8, one of those, Goro's dad, his father, is hit in the side of the head with a baseball during a baseball game.
Right.
It hits him in the helmet, but he dies of like a brain aneurysm or like a brain bleed or something.
Uh-huh.
And so his mother remarries.
So he takes the new guy's name.
One of his father's friends, whose last name was Shigeno.
Right.
And becomes Goro Shigeno, which he is for most of the show.
Yeah.
And by the way, Major, that's a really damn good anime.
It's an incredible anime.
It's really damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not really, it's in the first couple episodes.
Yeah,
so
it happens it's like the first quarter of season 1 of seasons of like 7 seasons. So.
I gotta go back and watch more of that show. I've only ever watched like the first, I guess technically season.
You've only seen 1 season of Major?
Yeah.
Dude, it's really good.
I know. And it gets better.
It gets better and better and better. It does. Yeah, Goro's a great character.
I don't have the time because I'm stuck watching shows like My Hero Academia Season 3, which we will be reviewing today on the podcast. But before we do, we've got a 5-star review.
It's time for iTunes review.
Mitz.
Uh-huh.
Where is the 5-star review?
Where is it?
Yes.
It's right here on the document.
That's a mailbag.
Oh, you're right. It is a mailbag. Oh, wow. What do you know? Well, talk amongst yourselves, and I will dig us up a 5-star review.
Thank you, Mitz.
From iTunes.
It's very nice of you.
Tell them where they can.
Of course, if you would like to express your undying love and support of our podcast, you can head on over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. We read them on the podcast, and I think it helps us out somehow.
Well, we're pretty close to 500 reviews on iTunes.
Yes.
And, you know, there are a lot of podcasts that have reached 500 reviews, but not many of them are anime podcasts.
Some of my favorite reviews are the ones where they say, "You didn't like the show I liked, so I'm giving you 1 star."
We had a really funny one.
Literally, they said that.
Yeah, it was called, what was I called? Something manfish or something? I was like, why am I a manfish? And what is a manfish?
Well, it's a fish with a man's head, obviously.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right. So we have a 5-star review submitted by Bets48, who I believe is my mother.
Is it really?
It's gotta be.
Oh.
Hi guys, it's my mother writing a mailbag. She loves us. Mitsuki's mom writes a mailbag. Hi guys, I've been a fan of your podcast from the very beginning. I love it. I am a senior citizen, but my son got me hooked on anime 28 years ago.
That is your mom.
It definitely sure. I've watched everything from My Neighbor Totoro to Monster, Chobits to Ninja Scroll. What I especially love is the humor and relaxed chemistry between Mitsuki and Kazuo. Your new podcasters, Enzo and Mandy, are absolutely fabulous. I feel like I've known them all my life. I watch every week and contribute monthly because I'm an anime addict, and you are all making my anime addiction stronger. This is the most entertaining and informative podcast ever. Keep it up. I love you, heart.
Aww.
She's so cute.
That's awesome. Hey, my mother also wrote a 5-star review.
It
says, it says, I hate you and you're a major disappointment. Oh, wait. That's terrible. Wow, Mom.
Oh my god.
I was going to say the reviews usually increase our self-esteem or improve them, but
well, we've got a review that we're going to be doing today.
But at least it was 5 stars.
That's true. You know,
but seriously, 500 reviews is a lot.
Yes.
Like a show like NPR has like 25,000 reviews, but
it's NPR.
But there are some pretty big podcasts out there that don't have 500 reviews. So huge credit to all the listeners out there that you're actually doing this.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I love you all for it. You're doing
the Lord's work.
You're helping us out, so I do appreciate it.
Yeah, we definitely do appreciate it.
Even if you're lying 99% of the time, because we're definitely not a 5-star podcast.
Well, 5 out of 10.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right, so we've got a review today of a show that you may have heard of. It's called My Hero Academia, Season 3.
Really heard of it.
Season 3. Now, a couple of things I want to get off my chest before we get into this review. One, in full disclosure, I did not finish Season 3 of My Hero Academia. I watched half of it.
What an admission.
I watched like 13 episodes. And what?
What a guilt admission that is.
Hey, I'm being honest. All right, I'm keeping it real with everybody. And a part of the reason Shame.
Yes, shame.
A part of the reason why I didn't
Ring the bell.
finish it
Shame.
How long is this drop?
She says shame a
As
few
long
times.
as we need it to be.
Part of the reason why I didn't finish it was because I've been very busy with work. It's that time of year. Another part of the reason is because I'm not interested in the show anymore, to be completely honest. And it's not because the show is necessarily bad. It's because I'm an old man. I've been watching anime for
bullshit
over 20 years, and I've seen an ungodly amount of shonen.
But you love
action
shonen
shows.
anime.
I do. But I just feel like maybe there's a point where it's like, you know what? I've seen this already. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just that it didn't grab me, and it didn't hold my attention.
But you love shonen anime.
It's true. That being said, I also want to comment on reviewing the third season of a show like this. And again, I passed this. This is totally my own doing. But I feel like there should be a discussion had on how many seasons we review.
I'm
of
for
a show.
sure passing Senki Sessho Symphogear XV in the summer next year.
Son of a bitch.
Oh,
you better not.
joy.
Oh, God. We've literally
It's
reviewed
season 5.
We've reviewed 4 seasons of that show. It's insane.
How
Why?
many Yamusha petals are we going to review?
That's another great example. I think I'm actually done with Yomushi Pedal because that show jumped the blue whale.
It jumped the blue
last
whale.
season. It needed to be. We needed a bigger aquatic animal other than a shark.
Yeah.
We needed a blue whale.
I think it's not necessarily the quality of the shows that are making me second guess passing multiple seasons. It's just simply that we've already reviewed this show twice, like My Hero Academia. We've reviewed it twice already. You know if you're gonna like it or not. So us continuing to review multiple seasons when we could just be reviewing different new shows that people may not be so familiar with, I feel like our time is better spent there. So it's, again, totally my bad. I'm the one that passed it. But it's just something I want to discuss with you guys.
That I would like to get off my chest. I did finish it. That wasn't it. But I will admit that My Hero Academia has never really grabbed me. And I know that it's so beloved by the community, and that's great. I definitely see why people love it. It's not one for me, but I definitely did. Well, I have seen all 3 seasons, and I went into this without any biases. So I'm not going to let that hold back my review, if that makes sense. Right. But yeah, so I just wanted to make it aware that I did not go into this loving My Hero Academia.
But yeah, I totally get what you're saying with like, it's, there is a distinction to be made between the objective quality of a show versus your taste, or even just the mood you're in, can affect whether or not something is going to grab your attention and hold it for the entirety of the show. There's so many things that are involved in that.
What I heard is that My Hero Academia. All right, so this is what I heard from you.
Okay.
Translating.
Mm-hmm.
My Hero Academia 3 is more of the same.
Yes.
And is boring.
No.
Well, if it's not interesting, it must be boring.
I wouldn't say it's boring. I would say if you haven't watched 20 years of shonen action shows, then it would not be boring for you.
And why is it that you aren't interested in that because you've seen 20 years of action shows?
Yeah, because I've seen
it's the same.
Because I've seen it's the formula.
So how if you've been watching the same formula for 20 years, isn't that sort of the definition of being boring?
Well, no, that would be like saying pizza isn't good because you've eaten pizza every day for a year. No, it's still good. It's just that you have eaten it every day for a year, so it's not good.
Let's get real for a second here. Yeah. Pizza is a food,
right?
That when you're hungry, your brain says you must eat to survive, and will make anything taste delicious.
Sure.
And you will eat it and feel happy and love it because your brain is telling you to.
Okay.
My Hero Academia needs to, after 20 years, do something new for the genre to refresh itself and not just do the same thing that's been done over and over again for a billion years. That is different because it's not a biological imperative.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting you mentioned that because I did write down pros and cons for this season, and one of my cons was that it is so formulaic. The season 1 and 2 and 3, season 1 and 2 started with training, and then villains attack.
Yep.
And the rest of the season is taking on the villains.
Yep.
Season 3 did switch it up a tiny bit, which I did appreciate. It starts with training, villains, and then it does go back to training. But there was a little bit in there where it was, I felt like there was a little bit of character development.
Now, to be fair, Mandy, it didn't start with training. It started with a flashback episode,
on their way to
followed by a fan service episode.
That's true.
Then they got into the training.
You're right. I did forget about the hot spring episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I really did enjoy the episode with the like going up through the dorm decorating.
Oh yeah, I think that was fun.
My biggest issue with My Hero Academia, because since we're going to get into this, is that they have such a large cast of characters and they have such amazing, interesting quirks. But unless your name is Midoriya, Todoroki, or Bakugo, I feel like they're not getting the attention they really deserve. Like, you might get a couple of cool moments, 1 or 2 cool moments, but outside of that, I feel like I don't know anything about them. Or reason to care about them. And I feel like the show even knows you're going to forget who they are because they remind you of their names and abilities every single episode.
Well, but I feel like that's a standard shonen thing. Like, you look at any of the, like Naruto or Dragon Ball, it's like you have the main handful of characters and then all the other side people that get bits and pieces here and there, but ultimately they're just not, you know, the ones that the shows are
Well, that might be a good question, right? So there are shonen shows where there are fewer characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even going to say like a Hajime no Ippo, which has very few important characters.
Right.
But I'm going to say even like a Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Where like there are 10 heroes. It's like what? Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan, Piccolo. That's pretty much it. Trunks. And,
you said Trunks.
I said Trunks already?
Yeah.
Yamcha,
but there is young Trunks and future Trunks.
Yamcha doesn't even count hardly. It's like seven or 8. And like maybe it's just, does it make more sense? Does it make for a better show if there are a smaller, more manageable number of characters as opposed to a billion characters like in a Naruto?
Yeah.
Where like if you're lucky if a character gets even 1 episode of backstory.
Well, Naruto revolved around 3 characters, you know.
But there were a gajillion characters.
But there were a ton of characters that people really like. Like, there's plenty of characters in Naruto that I really enjoyed that got their little piece here and there, but you know they're not going to be the main crux of the show. And that's similar to what My Hero Academia does. Is it revolves around these 3 main characters, or how I guess 3, yeah. And then all the other people they get their little bits and pieces. Like Tsukiyomi got some cool stuff here and there. With a dark shadow guy with the bird face, you know.
Momo got a little bit too.
Yeah, but they're not, you know, they're secondary or tertiary characters in the show. So I think that's just part of the genre.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's probably why I don't latch on to shows. That's probably my fault, but yeah, it's kind of weird because everybody hates filler, but I feel like this show would benefit from just a little bit of filler too, so we can explore the characters a little bit more.
That's an interesting point. I don't
just a little bit. Like I'm not like I feel like there has been almost 0 filler in My Hero Academia.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like we talked about the first episode is entirely a flashback episode. The second episode is them at the pool and at a hot spring. Then they have that main training arc and then that battle. But after the battle, they have the episode that you mentioned where they're just hanging out at the school, showing each other's like dorm rooms, you know, off and stuff like that. It's like it gets some filler, but maybe the filler isn't purposeful. Like it's not really exploring the characters as deeply as you'd like. Is that would that make sense?
I don't really consider episodes where they explore characters as filler.
Right.
I mean, that's important generally, especially see, it's important to have the backstory to have stakes in the show, as Enzo would put it.
Yeah.
Like in a show where a lot of fighting is taking place, where hopefully a character could possibly die. Otherwise, why would you even watch it? Because it's like if you know who's going to win, then why watch it?
Oh.
You know, then you need to have backstory in there to develop the emotional connection with the character. So it's almost crucial to have it.
And we haven't
really mentioned what the season is about, though. Should we go into that?
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I think it's important.
Again, I'm I haven't been following My Hero Academia. Like, I haven't been reading the manga, so I don't know the story as intimately as, you know, really diehard fans.
Yeah.
So I know the beginning of this season goes into a forest training camp, where they, after the hero killer from the last season, they're like, we need to train them a little bit better. So they go into the forest to train, and their training camp is, of course, interrupted by the League of Villains, who attack, and they end up they find out that they're actually after Bakugo.
Right.
And Bakugo does get kidnapped. And I don't know if we want to spoil things with All Might, though.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Because
they do, just to keep it very vague, he is rescued. And then after that, it goes into an arc where they're like, we need to give you, you need to pass a provisional hero license exam in order to get your license to be a hero, saying that you are able to use your powers to save other people. And that's the rest of, I think, pretty much the rest of the season after that is that hero exam.
Right.
And the conflict between Midoriya and Bakugo does really come to a head, and that's actually one of my favorite parts of this season, because previously to this season, most of the season, I could not stand Bakugo.
Same.
He was so frustrating to me, but I really like that they finally addressed Bakugo's mental health and the true source of his anger, because after it got to the point where he finally literally blew up, I realized he's been through a lot of shit, but nobody ever asks him, how are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
No one ever is like, takes the second to go, hey, you doing all right? They just kind of assume he's okay because he is kind of an asshole. But he's still a kid, you know? And I like that there is a part where All Might addresses it. He's like, I'm so sorry. I was not there for you when you needed me. And I really like that part of the story. And yeah, I thought that part was very interesting.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of fleshing out those characters. Like, I mean, in the last season, we got a lot of stuff with Todoroki and his backstory and why he is the way he is. And I feel like since then, he's become more of a stable, like, friend of Deku. And so I can kind of see, again, I haven't finished season 3, but I can see that potentially happening with Bakugo as well. Oh,
that's right. You haven't finished. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So I can definitely see, and that's also a trope of like Dragon Ball, like from back in the day. Like Dragon Ball initially, like Tien was a rival, and you know, and him and Goku fought, and then they kind of like figured each other out and became friends. And then Piccolo comes around, and Goku fights him, and then they become friends.
They're stepping stones.
Yeah. But then they like ultimately become friends, and then Vegeta, and then they become friendly, and then like it's
Boo.
And it's the formula.
And then God help us, please don't have it happen. But and then Frieza ? Which is really horrible
because he's a freaking mass murderer. Well, so's Boo.
Yeah, but Boo was always a goofy, silly.
Yeah.
The Fat Boo was always goofy and dumb. Frieza is like pure evil incarnate. Should not be a hero at all.
You know what I do appreciate though?
What
is that is all very true. As someone who got into a lot of fights growing up, often the dudes I would fight would become my friends afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like that is accurate.
I don't know. Like I'm just listening to you guys talk, and the show, it sounds a lot like Naruto.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all these characters. Some, you know, we already discussed the characters that are in it and how there's a lot of them, and then but like Naruto, there's the 3 main characters.
Right.
And then I'm hearing like, oh, forest training. Well, guess what? That happened in Naruto. Oh, they have to have a license.
the exam, the shooting exam.
Take an exam. Like, oh, guess what? Naruto.
Somebody in the chat mentioned that this is like become the new gateway for anime for a lot of like younger people.
Yes.
Where Naruto was for us. This is the new gateway for anime. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that like this anime is terrible, which I do not think that at all. I think it is decent. It's just not for me. And if it is gateway to get newer people into anime, that's awesome. I think it's doing its job then, because it is really popular.
And that's essentially what I meant by when I was saying, like, you know, I've been watching anime for over 20 years, and it's like I'm by no means am I saying the show is not good. It's a really good show, especially if you are newer to anime, and just not as jaded, I guess, as us old people are.
Yeah, I mean,
us old people.
It's not a bad thing. Like, these anime need to exist.
Yes,
but it's not like. But I don't feel like. And I have no idea how you guys are going to score this. And look, I don't know much about My Hero Academia because at this point I'm like 80 episodes behind.
Oh God.
But look, it's not that it being a gateway anime has any impact on whether or not it's a good anime or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So sure, it might be important, but just because it's important doesn't mean it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a separate item, a separate issue.
I think a way to kind of like describe it is My Hero Academia it's like a coloring book. It's coloring within the lines, and it's already kind of like a preset image that you're just filling in the colors, and that is simple, and it's obviously already it's already been created, and you're just kind of like filling in those bits and pieces, but it doesn't mean it's bad, it's just
yeah.
It's just not. It's nothing unique.
So let me ask you a question, and maybe you can't answer this without giving spoilers.
Okay.
Has there ever been how many significant deaths have there been in My Hero Academia?
Zero.
I think. Yeah.
Zero.
No one's died.
All right, but they fight a lot.
Yes.
And I'm guessing the good guy pretty much wins.
Yes.
There is literally, and I'm sorry, this is like me being super nasty. There's no point in watching it.
Yeah, but then there's no point in watching any shonen show.
That isn't true. Like, even in Dragon Ball, characters die.
Yeah, but then they get brought back.
But they still die. And they have dramatic, emotional scenes. I mean, and that's like, all right, that's a soft death.
Yeah.
But like, even Attack on Titan, which suddenly stopped killing people, is a shonen show. They killed a lot of characters in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hajime no Ippo doesn't always win.
True.
He gets CTE.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Like, literally, if you're gonna watch a show where no one
Naruto, people die.
People die.
Yeah.
There were some sad ass scenes in Naruto.
Yeah.
Like, if in My Hero Academia, and this is just me, I haven't seen it. I'm just making an outside observation, and I think I'm maybe valuable in that way. Maybe not. Maybe me.
No, you're fine, because I actually wrote down one of my cons was there's no actual real stakes in it, because I feel like nothing really happens.
It's like if no one ever loses and no one ever dies, then you're literally then it's virtually the most predictable show ever made.
Yeah,
like
it's a coloring book.
You know exactly the outcome of every single moment of the show, so why watch it?
Yeah,
it's that. See, that to me is boring. It's like you're watching a fight, but you know how it ends, so why watch it? Just skip to the end and skip it. It's done.
Yeah. No, you.
I'm just making an observation. Like, see, when I said did anybody die, I thought for sure you'd be like, oh, these 2 characters.
So Icyrose,
I didn't expect you to say 0.
Icyrose says something in the chat that I find interesting. He says in season 3 there was a moment where Deku legit thought he was going to die, but he didn't. Yeah. So that just kind of proves the point, I guess.
I don't know. I'm just like, it's that. I mean, I don't know. Are we at the point? Can new anime fans not handle the mental strain of having a character die? Like, is that where we are? Have we become like emotionally feeble? Like, are we fragile in that way? Like, oh, Deku can't die. It'll break. It'll ruin my life. I will slip into a depression.
That is a surprisingly good question.
I mean,
it's actually interesting because if you think. This is going all the way back to the 80s, but Transformers, when Optimus Prime died,
yes,
parents threw a fit, and they actually had to make a new season where they brought Optimus Prime back.
Right.
So maybe, I mean, it is aimed at a younger audience. Maybe we're just too old to see
but
that. They are really scared from that.
But to Mitz's point, like 10 years ago, or I guess 15 years ago, when Naruto came out. People in the first arc, people died like dramatically and emotionally.
I mean, look, doesn't Piccolo kill Krillin? Who does Piccolo kill? King Piccolo in Dragon Ball.
King Piccolo kills Krillin, I think. Yeah.
He's like 8.
Yeah.
He kills him.
But I'm even saying newer than that. I'm saying
dies.
Yeah, Dragon Ball is like from the 80s and 90s. I'm talking like newer than that. Even Naruto like had some emotional deaths.
Yeah.
Fullmetal Alchemist, which came out in I think 2005, had some very emotional deaths, and those shows are aimed at kids, just like My Hero Academia is. And but Yeah, I mean, I'm racking my brain here trying to think of like modern shonen or shows aimed at kids where there are meaningful deaths. And
see, I love it when characters die.
I don't think there's a lot that come to mind within the past, 5 years or so.
It's like when you donate blood. You donate blood and your bone marrow makes new blood cells for you. You get like fresh blood. When you kill a character in a show, new characters get to be the forefront and you get to explore new things.
Right. Well, it's not even just that. It gives it's real stakes, it's weight, it's emotional depth.
Not only that, you don't know if a character after a battle when a character dies, the following battles mean so much more to you because you just don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Could it be their age? Maybe they're afraid that if they kill young kids that
Naruto
might get age restricted.
Yeah, Naruto, they killed freaking Haku in the first arc and he was a kid. And that was incredibly emotional. So I don't know. Maybe times have changed. Maybe I don't know.
It could. I mean, it literally could just be that that's the way this specific show is written.
No, but I'm trying to think of like kids shows within the past 5 years that kill off characters. And you don't say Attack on Titan. It's not a kids show.
Hunter x Hunter.
Within the past 5 years.
Hunter x Hunter is in the past 5 years.
No, it's not. Hunter x Hunter came out 2011.
Yeah, but it ran for like 4 years. It ran for like 4 years though.
Well, that still wouldn't be 5 years ago. Well, yeah.
Attack on Titan is a kids show.
No, it's not.
It's a shonen show. It's for kids.
We have different definitions of a kids show.
I mean, I think that if you look at Attack on Titan, it is not as violent as you think.
Except for the part where they eat people and rip them apart.
No one has been eaten in like literally 5 years of Attack on Titan being on TV.
Yeah. So Enzo's in the chat. He says, I agree, fam. I finished My Hero 3, and though they still managed to swell emotion well, as the music is masterful, I never once broke and felt something true because of the fact that they never lose. So yeah.
Something that I want to talk about. How do you feel about the motivations of the League of Villains? Do they make sense to you?
I'm not entirely sure what their motivations are, to be honest with you. I know they want Bakugo.
I feel like all we know so far from One for All and the League of Villains is that they are, I guess, they need to remind the world that evil exists, and I feel like that's okay. I feel like there is a reason, but they haven't really explored it enough yet, and I feel like after 3 seasons, though, I need a little bit more than because we need to remind the world that evil exists. Their
motives are as shallow as the title of their group. We are the League of Villains. We do bad things.
I was like, I need a little bit more to keep interested in that. I don't know. I'm so sorry, because I know that this is such a beloved series, and I will say that it looks fantastic, the music's great, and it is very exciting to watch. Just like how Kuroko no Basuke is really exciting to watch for me.
You know what I would love, and I've said this since like the beginning of My Hero Academia, is you know how like in the beginning of the show, he always like in the intro, he says, this is how I became like the greatest hero in the world or whatever. And he's like, this is my story about how I became the world's greatest hero. I would love it if at some point in the show we get to a point where he is telling that little monologue as he's dying at the hands of a villain.
Ooh.
That's what I would love.
That 100%.
That would make it all worth it.
Never happen.
No, it would never happen. But that would be like, there's the depth. But yeah, it's, I don't know.
I mean, my thought, again, from the outside perspective, is that, like, I'm sure that a lot of people listening to this review are like, oh, you guys we're probably going to get a 1-star review after this.
Of course.
And I don't even know what you guys are going to give it. For all I know, it's like 4s. It probably will be. But, like, look, we're not really good reviewers. If you can't look at it.
Oh, I thought that was the end of the sentence.
Thanks for watching. Please leave us a review.
We're not really good reviewers.
We're terrible reviewers.
I'm just being deliberate, right? So, like, you can't be a good reviewer if you can't have the balls. If you can't have more balls in the show you're reviewing, like if you can't look at a big title like My Hero Academia and criticize it for its shortcomings, then you shouldn't review things.
Yeah, that's true.
So like,
I hate reviews that are just like everything is great.
So
it's
like,
well, no, it's not.
I commend you and Mandy for saying the things you say in this review because you're giving an honest thought and have the balls to do it.
Yeah, Mandy, good balls.
Whereas another reviewer,
thank you for complimenting my balls.
Your balls are great, Mandy.
Thank you.
They hang.
I worked real hard on them.
How's it hanging? Is it hanging good too?
Hanging great.
My old man balls touch the water when I sit down.
Well, that's nice.
But like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I commend you guys for it. I mean, it's not.
Well, I think it's important to be honest.
Not every reviewer though. If you go on like a website, I'm sure there's probably a billion websites where My Hero Academia's got 5 out of 5.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I would argue that those aren't reviewers. Those are like hype people.
But now I'm really curious as to what you're going to give it. Because I'm sure it's not any better or worse than the past seasons of My Hero Academia. It's just that they still haven't raised the stakes. They still haven't done anything unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Icyrose thinks that the reason the League of Villains is doing what they're doing is that the world is too dependent on All Might. I know they were targeting All Might because he is the symbol of peace. Is he really the only reason?
Yeah, right. That's not a great.
That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
The reason is that they want to they want to do bad stuff. That is their reasoning because we are bad and therefore we must do bad stuff.
That's shallow as
Now
hell.
the hero killer did make a lot more sense to me.
Yes, he was
a good villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about the others.
Well, do we want to get to our final thoughts and score?
Sure.
Although I don't know if my score matters.
Oh, do you not want to score it?
I mean, I will, but I don't know if people are going to, take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, I watched the first 13 episodes.
I would say, Mandy, as a person who watched all of it, does anything happen in the last half that would make the first half, a review based on the first half, any different?
Yes, because I really enjoyed the part with Bakugo at the end.
Okay.
All right, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I was saying earlier, I don't think that My Hero Academia is terrible. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a good, fun show to watch. Excuse me, my throat is like seizing up. But it has some good animation highlights. It has some great music. There are very interesting characters in there. And if you do love Midoriya, Todoroki, or Bakugo, then, I can completely understand why you love the show so much is because it focuses on them. And that's great. I love Todoroki, and I didn't really care for Bakugo until recently. The last couple of episodes where it focuses on his, issues, I was like, okay, I understand where they're coming from. So I appreciated that. Again, I'm not the target person for My Hero Academia, though. And I feel like there's just so much missing in it that is keeping me from enjoying it. Like, I want to know more. I want to feel closer to all of these characters so that I can appreciate what they're going through. With that said, it's really hard because I know how I was really scared about this review. I've been scared about this review for a long
God.
time. I'm going to give it a 3. 3 Todorokis out of 5 because he's my favorite character.
He's a good character.
I'm curious to know what you would have given it.
Well, my final thoughts on it are this show is probably the best current shonen action show that we have available to us. There are other shonen action shows out there that are nowhere near as good. You think about Black Clover, which
whatever happened to that show?
Yeah, I think it's still going. But this is definitely the epitome of shonen action shows currently available. I think this is, as you mentioned, Mandy, a gateway, and it will be a gateway for a lot of kids getting into anime. And that's totally cool. It's well animated. The music's awesome. Some of the fight scenes are really cool. The characters are simple, as to be expected from a show in this genre. Taking my personal opinions out of it, I think it does a perfectly reasonable job with what it's trying to accomplish. And if I were to score it, I would probably give it, this season in particular, I would say a 3.5.
I was debating between a 3 and a 3.5. I think that one's fair as well. I do think it's good. It's just not for me.
Well,
and yeah, and on that note, I'm not going to be passing any more of this show. I think we've reviewed enough of it at this point.
And I solemnly swear. All right, ready?
Yes.
I, Mitsugi, solemnly swear to not pass any more Senki Zesho Symphogear or do impressions on it.
Oh wow, that's a big step.
Why would I do an impression if I'm saying I'm not going to pass it?
I don't know. You do things that I don't understand all the time.
And I, Mitsugi, also solemnly swear.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to hug me?
Oh God, I'm scared.
I really want a hug right now. I'm gonna do what I need to do to get a hug out of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this to get a hug from Kazuo, and we'll see if he actually hugs me.
Okay.
And I, Mitsugi, solemnly swear not to pass or do impressions on any more Yomushi Pedal.
Oh.
All right, come here, bring it in.
Oh my God!
Oh,
it's the greatest day of my life.
All right. That deserved a hug. Ugh, I feel dirty now.
We can make room for other things.
All right. Yeah, I think that's something that should be considered. Is that once we've reviewed, I think 2 seasons is fair of a show.
Yeah.
At that point, we should try to consider other things that are coming out, regardless of the popularity.
Understand if there's been a massive break in between it. If it's like, man, this series has been gone for 20 years, it's coming back.
Sure.
I can see that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
On that note, should we do mailbags?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
Oh yeah.
This person's name.
Oh God. All right. Well, before we get to that, of course, if you would like to leave us a mailbag, you can head over to our website, AAAPodcast.com. Along the very top of the screen, there's a mailbag button that you can select and drop us a line, just like Finger Sniffer did. Man, do you want to read that one?
Sure. Let me get that. Finger Sniffer writes, "What up, AAA? I was checking up the manga content of Cells at Work, and there was an issue released in July 2018 that contains smoking, liver and alcohol, erection and ejaculation.
Damn.
Sounds
like a party.
Gonococcus, which is what causes gonorrhea, and finally, overworked, confusion, and hair loss. Do you see this type of content being adapted and then aired in Japan? More interesting, do you see this content adapted and maybe backed up by Netflix? Just wondering.
Ooh.
You know what? I really want to read those now.
Yeah, that is. Wow.
I really am interested because Cells at Work doesn't do it in. Oh man, it does it in such a like an educational way. I would love to.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do it though?
I don't know. I could definitely see them doing the smoking, the liver, and the alcohol. Maybe not the erection and ejaculation.
Yeah.
Maybe not gonorrhea.
Oh my God, the sperm cells? What would they be? Who would they?
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious what it looks like. The overworked and confusion, definitely. They did an episode where, spoilers for our Cells at Work review, but there is an episode where the person passed out. And dealt with head trauma, and I wonder how the hair loss one works out. I really want to read this now. Please let me know what volume this is, because I want to start there.
Well, we will be reviewing Cells at Work in the coming weeks.
I think some of those might be a stretch. I don't really think the world is ready for. Although God knows Japan needs a lot of sexual education.
Yeah,
that is true.
They do. They could really probably benefit from an episode on an erection and an ejaculation, also, Yeah. But, I mean, I just can't see it. I mean, are we ready for that? And especially look, I don't want to be like political, but in today's world, where like literally everything offends someone, and to the point where your life is destroyed.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this isn't.
Can you even say erection on TV? No, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. Actually,
could you have an episode on an erection? Could you have an episode on?
I mean, this is
anything.
Yeah. It's a medical type show, so I would imagine it would.
Look, the show got killed because of how portrayed cancer, even though it made total sense to the story.
Wait, Cells at Work did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It got killed for portraying cancer in a, for the most part, sympathetic way.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was because unlike every other entity, and I'm not saying I don't love cancer or something. Trust me, I'm not
controversial opinion. Mitsuki loves cancer.
Evil. I'm not evil. Okay.
Oh no.
But like, look, it's like, so the reason why they did that, Kazuo, was because unlike all the bacteria and the things in the show that they're always fighting, cancer comes from inside your body and it doesn't belong with the body. Like, it feels sad because it comes from the same place as everybody else, but everyone hates it.
Oh, so they made the cancer cells seem
it cried and
like
stuff.
It wasn't
sympathetic
activated
characters.
cancer because everyone has cancer cells in them right now, and your body's
Speak
getting
for yourself,
rid of
bro.
them. Okay, I'm sorry. Cosmo is superhuman.
Yeah, I mean,
but that'll be an interesting topic because we may have a guest for that show.
we may.
Oh,
Could
We
be.
may.
Look forward to that.
an actual cancer cell.
Anyway,
Oh,
I'm just
wow.
saying, like, I'm just saying, like you got to be careful what you talk about,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And you're going to topics like sexually transmitted diseases, you know, people probably dying from overwork, ejaculation, erection, smoking, alcohol. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's interesting.
You know what? It ain't happening.
Also, this is all in one body. What is this person doing?
Having a freaking party.
You know what?
That's what they're doing.
That's a great
partying
damn
all the
point.
time.
They're going ham. This is like me on the weekend.
That's a great damn point, Mandy. Someone is fucking going ape shit.
Smoking,
Who is this
alcohol,
person?
erections.
Anyway, next mailbag is from Box Beater. It is my understanding that there's technology in Japan that is just not available in the U.S. or any other place for that matter. On top of your head, can you recall technology that you saw in your last trip to Japan that called your attention?
Technology that we saw when we were in Japan that interesting.
I'm here to tell you that Japan is actually a fairly low-tech place.
Yeah.
Like, they make a lot of stuff, but they don't use a lot of it.
True.
Like, you'd be surprised. You really would.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are different things that they do differently as far as technology is concerned, but it's nothing like mind-blowing, you know?
I mean, stuff like ticket machines at restaurants to get your food. So
Yeah,
going having
that's
a waiter.
cool.
But like we could have that in a second.
Sure.
We just don't do it.
Right.
You know, their train technology kicks our ass, but that's in Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. just sucks at transportation.
Although McDonald's has like ticket machines now.
Do they?
Yeah, I mean, like it's a thing you go up and you punch in what you want, and it gives you your receipt, and then they give it to you at the counter.
Yeah, we did that in New York.
Yeah, that's right. We did when I had to go in to use the bathroom, so I had to buy a coffee.
Yep.
Well, there's
toilets. We do not have Japanese toilets, and we should.
That's true. Those are dope.
They are dope, and having one though would be expensive.
I used the water fountain function on the toilet in Japan.
You drank out of it?
No, I used it to cleanse myself.
To cleanse your buttocks?
Yes, and I'll tell you what, it was a little. At first, I was like, "Whoa," but then I was like, "Oh, this is nice. This is really handy."
So I have a little bit more information on the Cells at Work. It's actually called Cells at Work Black. It's not part of the original series. It's actually a spin-off by Shigemitsu Harada. I actually looked this up because I wanted to buy it. And it's but it was supervised by the original creator.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't see that being adapted. It's not even like in the original series. It's a spin-off of it. So.
You know what technology they have in Japan that we don't have here that I desperately want?
What is that?
Hot vending machines.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Vending
We could have
machines
that.
that provide hot drinks.
All right, we gotta do the last mailbag.
All right, go ahead, Mitz.
It's also from Box Beater.
Or wait, did you read the last one?
You know what, Mandy? Why don't you read this one because it's specifically to Kazuo and I. I don't understand why.
Okay.
Okay. Boxbeater writes to Mitsuki and Kazuo, if one of your listeners offered you to drop by your place and cook for you while you were doing your podcast, would you consider it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Come cook for me.
Absolutely.
Come cook for me.
We'd do another Cooking with Kazuo episode and you can teach me how to cook.
Yeah.
Except it's cooking with Boxbeater.
Cooking with box beater.
That's true. Box beater, come on down.
Yeah. Hit us up.
All right.
But you have to cook beatboxing, please.
Yes. Well, I don't think that's what his name means.
I know,
Anyway.
but I'm trying to be innocent here.
It would be pretty fun if he did do that, though.
What, beatbox?
If he beatboxed the entire time he was cooking.
While cooking? That'd be sweet. All right. I'm going to bring this home, guys.
Do it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Of course, you can always find us online on our website, AAAPodcast.com. Go to AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account and sign up for all of our additional podcast episodes, hentai episodes, hobby addicts, after parties, just a buttload of ear goodness for a couple bucks. You can also subscribe on iTunes and rate us there. Help us maintain our number one spot, our firm grasp around the throat of anime podcasting.
It's a very weak grasp.
As we pull the hair and spank the buttocks of anime podcasting.
What is happening?
we had a very weak grip. We pulled the hair.
Right.
But it was our own hair. And we spanked the buttocks. But
it was our own buttocks.
But our hand hurt. And it was our own buttocks.
Ooh, yeah.
So
that's all right. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/group/AAA podcast. Join our Discord. Hang out with us. It's been a pleasure, and we love you very much.
On the Discord, you can spank my buttocks.
Virtually.
Virtually.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
God help us all.